Chapter 4854. Chapter 4854. When Fushi shot, he knew if there was any. If I want to have it, there is no day. At this moment, Fushi, calm and self-contained, like a ***** of creation, hands painted, void, Wujisheng Taiji, Taijishengi, 1 life 2 students 3 students gossip. This power is terrible, all innate. Do not say anything else, even if the saint is too high, the power of the enlightenment of the practice is nothing but a gossip. In this respect, Fushi has already gone too far before. Only this point can be seen, how terrible the power of Fushi. At this time, the son-in-law's 9-day knives also formed at this time, and fell from the void. Brush the brush. The knives are constantly flashing. The 9-day sword is a magic weapon for the saints. Its power is self-evident. It is only a moment that there is a horrible force of extinction that cannot be described. But this kind of power has made Longfei have a kind of heart. Is this the power of the saint? It is really strong. Longfei said in his heart for a moment, said lightly. At this time, I realized the true terror of the saint before the system said. Because this power is not purely a category of spiritual practice, but has touched a kind of Tao, an absolute control over the power. As usual. Killing is killing. Take the sword of the sky and destroy all beings. Reassure, although the power of the saint is strong, the heavens are not the only ones. Although they are supreme, they are not supreme. And, the power of Fuxihuang is also not to be underestimated, although it has been set too much. But congenital gossip, not as simple as you think. Winhook said. At this time of the battle, they simply could not intervene. In particular, Longfei, who has never broken through that step, even if he wants to shoot, is also full of energy. Longfei did not turn his eyes. After listening to the Win, the line of sight was fixed in the void. Such a battle will not happen much in the past. Because the saint is already the strongest in this world. No one has ever dared to shoot with the saint and dare to shoot the saint. Especially after the sanctification of the saints, it was rarely shot. In addition to the seal of the gods, the saints basically did not go out after being suppressed by the saints. Therefore, today's World War I, even if it is witnessed, is also an opportunity. Longfei's eyes are always fixed on the congenital gossip. Winning the hook is the result of the battle, but the dragonfly is not the same. Longfei is concerned about the battle itself. The power of the son-in-law belongs to the heavens, and the mysterious and mysterious, it is impossible to see through. But here at Longfei, there is nothing to be seen. At this moment, the dragon's eternal life is shining. He can even capture the traces of the knives. A strong magic weapon, it is a magic weapon for the saints, the power is shocking. Longfei sighed. At this moment, he was able to clearly feel that the power of the whole world was shivering in the sky, and under the endless power, only the fisherman surrendered. This is not counting. Longfei can feel a kind of rhythm of the Tao, mysterious. As if this knife can capture all the weaknesses of the heavens and the earth, every move and fall, with the power of supreme suppression. But just a few eyes, Longfei will no longer pay attention. Because of this power, although it is arrogant, it is the power of heaven that needs to rely on it. Tiandao has long been under the control of Daozu Hongjun, and this power can only be used by the saints who have entered the heavens. Even if it is tougher, even if you see the fundamentals, it is difficult to let Longfei have any movements. Instead, it is Fuxihuang. When Fushi painted a gossip, Longfei felt an inexplicable incitement. The quiet Dantian started to run wildly at this moment. If it wasn't for him, the entire Dantian would be like a chaos, wrapped in a thick outer shell, and Longfei could not guarantee that it would cause any terrible changes. However, this change has also made Longfei's heart full of yearning. At this time, the eternal life of the eternal life is fixed above the congenital gossip. Heavy picture, directly branded in the eyes. Then, Longfei could feel it. At this time, there was no pause in Dantian. The innate images portrayed in Longfei's eyes were all imprinted in Dantian. Rumble. Rumble. At this moment, Longfei could clearly understand that Dantian was roaring. It seems that these 8 kinds of congenital images that have been branded in the past have become part of Dantian. This change is good or bad, Longfei is not clear, but between the faint, he can already feel it. Along with the fact that one's own body has changed slightly, it seems that you can exert the power of congenital gossip. Of course, it is naturally impossible to compare with Fushi in terms of power, but it is enough for Longfei to have such a chance. But all but except Longfei, no one knows. Even Fushi in the battle has no perception. At this time, the Fushi on the void controls the gossip and crosses the saint. Even if it is the power of the sword, under the power of the gossip, it is completely useless, and the saint's ability to destroy the world cannot be found. But this is no wonder. Congenital gossip, all-encompassing, and Fushi Huang is the way to get it, the power is self-evident. Booming. At this time, the knives of the sky disappeared. The female nephew is still cold. The power of congenital gossip is really strong, but you should know that I still have a lot of means. 9 knives are just the most among many of my means. Can you break the knives and break the refining pot? Can you move the refining pot and break the mountain river community? The son-in-law asked coldly. Fushi Huang was silent. Under the question of the son-in-law, I did not say a word. The maiden has the means to display it, the means of Fuxi Huang is not enough, and we are. Shenyuan Huang and Shenong Huang open, step forward, the 3 face the son-in-law. The 3 emperors of the Terran, are you going to turn the sky? At this moment, a sigh of anger, falling from the void. Hey! The 3 figures came at the same time. Heaven, heaven, and you answer. Instant dragon fly scorpion must be. Now, how this situation looks like a decisive battle. Heaven and earth 6 saints, directly fell to the master. Not only that, the time that is being considered in the mind of Longfei, above the entire void, once again the black clouds swept, and the pressure of the Uganda was as if the entire sky was covered. The saint is on the top, and the heavenly court is a million-day soldier. Come and slay the demon. The saint is on the top, Lingshan leads a million Buddha repairs, and comes to the demon slayer. The son-in-law is on the top, the 3 are on the top, and the demon is coming to suppress the dragon court. The forces of the 3 parties are like thunder, and the soldiers are on the side. In the eyes of Longfei, the cold light flashed. Heaven, Lingshan, Yaozu, the 3 tribes, the goal is the same, that is, he is a dragon, everything, it seems to be a dead end. Chapter 4855. Chapter 4855. Dark Void is like the end. The 3 forces of the strongest between heaven and earth, and at the same time aim at one existence, which has never been seen since ancient times. And Long Ting, naturally, has become the focus of attention in the world. 1,000 people inside and outside the square, a Taoist face flustered. Come on, the chaos finally appeared. The foregone conclusion? Impossible. The beginning of this chaos. The immortal world has already produced induction. If it is so easy to end, why should my ancestors be so flustered? Lord of the Dragon, Longfei? It looks like it is time to stop the team. I hope this time, my choice is not wrong. The Taoist said, one flashed and went straight to Long Ting. In the land, the river is turning. Sty River, you are really sinking. The last time you were not the Emperor's shot, your STYX has been squeezed and refining. In that case, you can hold on to the power of your Shura. Dongyu Taihao said. That kind of power is that I use force to attack the heavens. It is too wasteful to use it on him. Moreover, the river is the legacy of the power of the man. How could it be refining so easily? But the kid is really Nyobi, only 2 days, actually caused so many moths. Now even the saints have shot, with the 3 tribes of the Terran, cannot keep him, said the river. Not at all, the origin of this kid is unknown. Maybe there is any means behind it. We don't know. And there is also a great emperor. I feel that his strength can already be sacred. Taiyu said. Useless, look at it, anyway, today, whether it is the end or the beginning, there will always be a result. Stupid said. Taiyu nodded. Before the 2, the water of the endless river flowed into a picture. This picture is above the dragon court. When the picture turns, Longfei looks at the forces of the 3 parties and is also taking a breath. In this scene, he is not surprised. I did not expect that the speed is so fast. Oh, it's really fast. Kid, this time, it's not good. Winning a sneer, the whole body's suffocation breathes invisibly. This kind of posture, when you look at it at a glance, you know that you are not good, and you are clearly thinking about extermination of the Dragon Court. Although it is said that this group of people has a lot of high-end combat power, there are few that can survive the anger of Longfei. Unfortunately, there are many people who win. Especially the Yaozu, including Kuan Peng, the 5 demon gods are the same, the purpose has been self-evident. What I think is definitely to take the Dragon Court instead. In the heart of Longfei, it was a silence. The current situation is extremely unfavorable to Long Ting. The power of the 3 parties is not to say, just 4 saints, it is enough to shock the world, let the dragon fly scalp numb. Very good, the 3 emperors, you have recognized the current form, this is the thief of the heavens, this world does not allow him, you want to stand for him? Yuan began to speak coldly, a subclass full of disdain. Indeed, in terms of the current form, Long Ting has no chance of winning, and it is basically a dead end. The targets of the heavens, even if it is arrogant, can only drink hate. The saints are joking. We are not standing for anyone, but it is a glimmer of hope for the Terran. Fushi Huang said faintly. So far, do you still think he still has hope? Is it possible? Or, do you think that with the presence of the 3 of you, plus the existence of a non-human, non-ghost, non-demon, can you counter the 4 of us? Tongtian teaches the chief sword in the hands of the sword, cold and cold. At this time, the suffocation of the winning hook is also condensed to the extreme. You know that you have your heavens, but you don't have to, you can crush everything. Winning the body and moving, above the void. At this time, the win hook has also been ignited. 3 times, it was excluded from the heavens and the earth, even if the clay figurine had 3 points of fire. Moreover, this is still a master of the gloom. Hey! At this time, the void is another wave of fluctuations. A Taoist person appears directly between the heavens and the earth, watching the arrogant Tongtian and the winning hook, and smiles gently. You, why? This is the cause and effect between Long Ting and the 3 parties. It is better for me to take a step back and let them solve it themselves. The Taoist said. Jin Yuanzi, what do you mean? You know that this battle is against the sky, but they still let them solve it themselves. Do you want to see the big chaos in the 3 realms? Too resentful. This person, official town Yuanzi, that can only say that they have no ability to do it. Since they want to maintain their own ethics, they will come up with their own ability and rely on a few saints. It is impossible to say no. Jin Yuanzi's eyes narrowed and said faintly. When this statement came out, his position was extremely clear. Just stood in the Dragon Court. Longfei is also a face-to-face, he has no slight intersection with Jin Yuanzi, and can even say that he has never met. It is totally unclear why Jin Yuanzi will choose to stand on his own side. Well, a good old ancestor, I used to see you as a good old man. Now I can't think of it, you actually have a wolf ambition, and you want to subvert the 3 worlds. Yuan Shitianzuan's face was cold. Now, the emergence of Jin Yuanzi has also made the whole situation confusing. Whether it is the 3 emperors, or Win the Hook, or Jin Yuanzi, the strength is already above the quasi-holy, and they have already found their own strength. Sacred people say this, isn't it the same as before? But it is the old way. I made a choice this time. Jin Yuanzi calmly said that he did not care about the threat of Yuanxia Tianzuan. The brothers don't panic, but they are a group of people who want to chaos. We have 6 people together, they can't turn any waves. At this time, 2 figures came. It is the 2 Western saints who are leading and quasi-dike. Below, the dragonfly's scorpion is getting thicker and thicker, and an unprecedented humiliation emerges above his heart. These people are coming for themselves, but they are the ones that are the least useful. If you have the strength to fight with the saints, then even if they come, what can they do? What can I do? Unfortunately, I am only 1 step away from the last step, and the system is still being repaired. Naturally, even if I want to break through, I am also powerless. With the advent of the Western Holy Trinity, the expressions of several people have become very strong. In particular, the son-in-law, at this time, broke the deadlock, and the body moved, dragging a green pot in the hand, condescending. Several brothers, a few of them have been handed over to you. This dragonfly's obstacles are handed over to me to kill. The son-in-law said, and the eyes were raging. Because now, the power that Longfei has mastered is extremely terrifying. Between heaven and earth, the strongest people under the saints have already stood on the side of Longfei. If Longfei does not die, it will inevitably cause chaos in the world. As long as you kill Longfei, everything will return to normal. Chapter 48:56. Chapter 48:56. When the woman is moving, the chaos will start. Winning the hook figure instantly shocked the woman, but did not break through. A long sword fell directly. It is the master of Tongtian. Tongtian teaches the master to hold the Qingping sword, and a sword is thrown out, and the heavens and the earth are dead. Even if you win the hook, you can only avoid it in the face of this power. The next moment, the suffocation of the scorpion, the blood of the nether, appeared in the moment after winning the hook, swept the sky. Non-human, non-monster, non-ghost monsters, look at this seat today to marry you. Tongtian teaches the Lord sneer. Go to your mother's saint. What happened to Laozi, who is not a demon? I have jumped out of the 3 realms. I am no longer in the 5 elements. I am out of control. Is it heaven and earth? If you have the ability to smash your seat, you can close your mouth if you can't stand it. For the 3rd time, he was insulted by the saints. The anger in the heart of the Win has also completely erupted, almost embarrassing. A little face is not given, it is directly open. I don't know the so-called, in front of the saints, the courage is so arrogant, give me a slap. Tongtian teaches the main eye as a sword smashed out, and forced to win the hook. And to win the hook, the body of the zombie incarnate between the moments, endless suffocation, fangs and bones, especially infiltrate people. At the same time, the 3 emperors also want to shoot, but the Yuan began to pick up and others have also blocked. For a time, the entire void was turned into a battlefield. The existence of the heavens and the earth, the battle at this time. Now, see who can still save you. The son-in-law snorted, and the scent of the refining pot in her hand was shining, and the light shone. At the same time, the power of a horrible devourer is falling from the sky, and the entire long court is wrapped in it. Do not. No. What is this? Don't. My body is out of control. What is going on? Don't. Suddenly, a scream broke out on the dragon court. It is those demon people. Even the Tushan foxes were not spared, and under the power of this refining pot, they began to be swallowed. Tushan Xiaoya looked at the scene in front of him and desperately wanted to resist, but it did not help at all. Xianmen air transport, get up. At this time, Longfei did not hesitate to use the Xianmen air transport. The niece is too embarrassed. The power of this refining pot is extremely horrible. If it does not use force to resist, afraid that it will not take a moment, the entire demon family, including Longfei, even Xuanyu, etc., will be swallowed up. Among them. Booming. In an instant, the Xianmen airway broke out in an instant, and the air transport Jinlong hovered up, directly protecting the entire Longting. Xianmen air transport? Useless, the power of heaven and earth to suppress everything, let alone your power. Heaven is the 3 realms, Yu Longting is the inverse class. Newer voice is cold. At this moment, facing Longfei, I have not asked about everything before. Or, in the moment he and Fushi fight, the relationship between her and the human race has come to an end. Useless. Longfei snorted. In the next moment, Longfei's figure skyrocketed and the ground was pulled up. In any case, he is the Lord of the Dragon, and everything at this moment is up to him. Let him escape. Let him escape. Impossible. No, it is dry. Even if it is not, Longfei will never escape without fighting. Kowloon Royal Sky. Longfei shouted, and the figure went straight to the Lock Demon Tower with the power of the King's Blade. He couldn't watch the Long Ting being overwhelmed and indifferent. He knew that the people on the Long Ting, in the face of the power of the refining pot, did not have the slightest resistance. I want to save them from suffering. There is only one way, and that is to dry the demon pot. Do not be self-sufficient, relying on your current ability, but also want to break through the refining pot? Innocent. Or just to swallow you, directly refining you, and everything will be over. Nuer said silently, face there is no slight expression on it. It seems that at this moment, the moment that Longfei shot, it is already a dead person. Brush. At this time, Longfei waved a knife. Brush. The tens of thousands of knives rise from the air and directly smash into the refining pot. It can make Longfei unexpected. This time, the empty space of the refining pot is suddenly opened. The next moment, it directly sends out the infinite power of devouring. It is the tens of thousands of knives that are swallowed in this moment. And Longfei, at this moment, felt a kind of uncontrollable force to pull himself. Even his current physical strength is hard to resist. Booming. The power of the refining pot is getting more and more stunned, and the figure of Longfei is swallowed up at a speed visible to the naked eye. In this process, no matter how Longfei struggles, it will not help. No. Longfei. Longfei brother. Grown-ups. In an instant, the endless grief broke out from the dragon court. At this moment, their hearts are extremely desperate. But more, it is the depression and pain in the mind. Because Longfei has always been their spiritual pillar, their backbone. As long as there are dragons flying, they believe that everything is possible. Even before this, even if the saints came, they believed that as long as there is a dragon flying here, everything will be safe, and Longting will also pass this crisis. With the arrival of saints one after another, they have already begun to worry. Until this moment, watching the dragon fly was swallowed into the refining pot, the belief in their hearts finally collapsed. Not only are they, but even the golden dragons are screaming at this moment. The scales of the body are dissipated and begin to peel off and fall on the dragon court. Everything is everything, and Longfei has encountered a crisis of life and death. And Longting will also fall into a dead end. Kid. You can do this with him. Don't let Laozi look down on you. Winning the Hook naturally feels this scene. Stop and fight, roar. Above the void, the heavens, the Lingshan, and the people of the Yaozu are excited and open-eyed. Sure enough, it will be able to linger in front of us. When the saint takes a shot, he will die. Dragon Court is finally defeated. I don't know what to do, but I dare to rebel against heaven and disobey the saints. Amitabha, the enchanting is finally killed, the world is clean. Oh, all this, when he refines my demon gods, it is already doomed. Countless voices fell, but the attitude was surprisingly consistent. That is, Longfei died, and Longting is finished. Stop, Longfei has already been in vain, it is meaningless to continue fighting. After today, between heaven and earth, there is no Longting, and everything is restored to heaven. The son-in-law also spoke at this time, with a touch of light on her face. Several saints also stopped attacking at this moment, smiling, ready to walk. In contrast, the three emperors and Genuanzi are awkward and unbelievable. Only Win the Hook, even at this moment, blood and tears flowed out, killing more concentrated. What they don't know is that at the moment, in the refining pot, the body of Longfei has been entangled by the power of the heavenly sage, and the whole person is bound, allowing the forces to impact themselves. Even Longfei has closed his eyes. Is it going to die? Longfei muttered to himself. Chapter 48:57. Chapter 48:57. The consciousness of Longfei has begun to blur and is extremely weak. This refining pot is a congenital magic weapon, powerful and incomparable, and the son-in-law or the emperor's emperor, the power of the display of this refining pot is even more powerful. At this moment, this force will entangle the dragonfly, and even let Longfei feel that the power of his blood is being refining and being smashed, and even the body of the creation cannot hold back. As for the world outside the refining pot, Longfei has completely lost its perception. At this time, outside the refining pot, all of the dragons are endless grief. After all, Longfei failed to resist the power of the saint and was swallowed into the refining pot. Inverse seeds have been destroyed, you have no need to shoot. The son-in-law said coldly. As if everything is under your control. The emperor's face sank and there was a disappointment in his eyes. They are not disappointed with Longfei, but more, they are disappointed with the world. However, at this time it was also stopped. This time, they came out of the mountain and placed their hopes on Longfei. If Longfei is safe and sound, then they will try their best to help Longfei. But now, even Longfei has been swallowed into the refining pot. Life and death are not clear. Even if they are shots, it is just for the Terran to provoke disaster. Zhen Yuanzi was also silent. His face was very dignified. This time, is my choice wrong? Zhen Yuanzi muttered to himself. His face was lonely. When fighting with the saints, when they choose to shoot, everything has no turning back. Although they are not weak, they are still in the end, and they still have the name of quasi-holy. Since it is not holy, even if it has the power to contain the saints, it is definitely not the opponent of the saint. At this point, it is already a desperate attempt to put all the hopes on Longfei. I did not expect that the current situation has become like this. I didn't die before I died. This feeling is really wrong. No, it's impossible. Longfei will never hang like this. Win the hook and shout. All over the body, suffocating. The three emperors sighed. Zhen Yuanzi silently bowed his head. Now, among all of them, I am afraid that I will only win the game, and I am full of expectations for Longfei. Because others don't know the means of Longfei, but he knows a little. Can you summon your own power through countless planes, countless worlds, and such people will be so easy to hang? Winning the hook is absolutely not believed. The stubbornness of the spirit, why do you call it the innate magic weapon? The power of the refining pot, even the ancient demon can refine, not to mention a counterspecies. Tongtian teaches the chief sword, indifference. Go to your mother's counterspecies, you are willing to surrender, and you will be placed under the heavens, and you will position everyone against the seeds. As everyone knows, in the eyes of Laozi, you are a group of poor worms. Staring at the sage of the saints, it seems like a big freedom, but I don't know, it's just a dog from the family's nursing home. Say me to be a different kind, and say that he is a counterspecies. What about you? You are walking under the door of heaven. Win the hook and scream. At this moment, he has completely erupted. Longfei was swallowed up, and the result of this result is not small. For this day, he has endured the endless time under the sea, and finally saw hope in Longfei. I just didn't expect that the fire of hope had not yet been ignited, but it was already going to be extinguished. Presumptuous. Stained saints, care for the heavens are not tolerated, and the saints are not allowed. Teacher, he shot him out. It was too open and his face was very strong. Obviously, the words of winning the hook have already stung them. Kill me. Ha ha ha, okay, one is not enough, I want to kill me, let's go together. Win the hook and laugh. It seems that at the moment, I just want to go crazy. As for life and death, it has already been thrown aside. Good arrogance, three emperors, such people, you dare to believe. Like the antispecies, there is no heaven, no death. Yuan Shitian sighed with anger. In the next moment, the heavens were floating in the hands, and the power of a heavenly force was directly suppressed. At the same time, the sword light of Tongtian is flashing, and it is also a sword. And Yuan Shitianzuan, there is no idol, big clock in his hand appears, screaming, earth-shattering. Innate dust. No. Question mark. Tongtian sword meaning? On the side of the three emperors, Shenyuan Huang's face was a heavy meal, and he was going to make a shot. But it was stopped by Fushi. Shenyuan don't want to shoot, the saint killing has already come out. If the dragon flies, we must save our strength and continue the fire for the Terran. Otherwise, there is really no hope. Fushi said. Xuanyuan's eyes hate the sky. But I also know that Fushi is telling the truth. In desperation, I can only watch it. Win the hook and look dark, between the hustle and bustle. Roar. Winning a hook, the entire whimsy sea is emerging behind him, mad. A stream of incomparable suffocation broke out on him. Hey. Win a hook and hit the bell on the clock. Hey. The bell of the day rang through the heavens and was directly smashed by a win. Immediately afterwards, the eyes of the winning hook were like bloodthirsty, and the bones directly turned into a bone that began to differentiate and became a root, welcoming the void and the congenital road. The fangs in the mouth also began to prolong at this moment, and finally won the hook and smashed, like a bone sword, held in the hand, the sword against the sky is a blow. Rumble. 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 In an instant, the entire void became violent. The three emperors have already bowed their heads and can't bear to look straight. The three great saints shot, even if they did not dare to face the resistance, but now win the hook but die. Even the people of the Tianling Lingshan and the Yaozu are at the moment a slap in the face and frightened. Because the win is too powerful, this kind of battle is not something they can intervene. Don't talk about intervening, even if you look at it more, there is a feeling of death approaching. Brush it. In an instant, the forces of the three sides suddenly quit, until the withdrawal of this side of the void, the pressure can only be stopped. At this time, the winning hook in the battle is full of blood. He has his own dignity and lives in a battle. He is also very strong, not losing between heaven and earth, any strong one. However, he is faced with a saint, a heavenly saint, and the strongest six under this heaven and earth. He can fight one person without defeat, but at the same time face three, absolutely only a deadly battle. Ha ha ha, the heavenly sage is just like this. The three saints fight with me. Even if they die, Lao Tzu is worth it. Win the hook. Even if he is almost exhausted at this time, he has been hit hard by the attack of three people, but he is still arrogant. I don't know the so-called, I will dare to swear when I die. I will give you a yin and yang furnace. Yuan Shitian sighed with anger and burst into anger. At this moment, the three emperors closed their eyes. The sage is angry, and it is still three saints. They are afraid to go and see if they win or die. Chapter 48:58. Chapter 48:58. At this moment, winning the battle is a shock, attracting everyone's attention. It is the son-in-law, who is also attracted by the arrogance of winning the hook. Even the refining pots are left unchecked. Of course, this is also the absolute confidence in her heart. I believe that even if it is Longfei, there is no wind and wave in his own refining pot. But unfortunately, what he didn't know was that at this time, Longfei, among the refining pots, was undergoing an earth-shaking change. At the moment, among the refining pots, Longfei flesh does not move, let this inexhaustible refinement force into the body. Moreover, all his breath and consciousness disappeared. In this case, no matter how you look at it, Longfei is already a dead person. But on the flesh of Longfei, the breath is faintly elevated, and the indescribable mysterious power of the road is faint in the Longfei Dantian. With the appearance of this breath, the power of this refining pot poured into the body of Longfei, but it did not have any influence, but the strength of the body of Longfei was slowly rising. But this is that the son-in-law is not aware of it. Otherwise, you will never let it go and turn a blind eye. At this time, the outside world. With the beginning of Yuanxia Tianzuan's yin and yang furnace, the strength of winning the hook was completely suppressed. Hey! The bone wing that won the hook has fallen apart, and it was completely destroyed under the power of the innate dust. Boom! The bone sword of the fangs is also defeated under the Qingping sword. Hey! When the yin and yang furnace came out, the boundless and faint blood of the hook was won, and it was refining under this force, so that the arm that won the hook collapsed at this moment. Ha ha ha, a group of things that look good. If you are anyone, Lao Tzu is not afraid. The three killed me alone, although dead, I am still the lord of the nether. Win hook laughter, asterisk 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 voice. As the last cry, tell the world. He won the hook and was equally invincible. At this moment, the sage's face is dull, and the arrogant Win is still seen. The killing is completely ignited. In other words, winning the hook is not dead, they are upset. The three emperors, at the moment, can no longer stand it. To win today, if the world is hopeless, the Terran is hopeless. Yes, Fu Shihuang, I know that you have concerns. But the fire cloud hole for thousands of years, still do not understand. Heaven, 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 what is the road, who is the way, you still do not understand. Shenyuan and Shenong have opened their mouths. At this moment, the two have decided to fight. And Fu Shihuang, at this moment, finally made up his mind. The next moment, he twisted his hands and painted gossip. Three emperors, Do you really want to do it? Nvoir also stood up at this time. Not only him, but the connection and the quasi-dike are no longer silent. I didn't open it in the first battle, but now I'm going to open it again. The atmosphere has become more and more strange. The Emperor's face was grieved, especially Shen Yuan, watching the windhook at this time, hate and madness, and the long sword wanted to be holy. The remaining saints, obviously watching them early, are preventing them from shooting. At this time, Jin Yuanzi's eyes flashed and seemed to be constantly being deduced. Finally, Jin Yuanzi has a certain vision. The vibrations in the Earth's celestial world are still more than the same, but instead convey a more horrific warning. That proves that the chaos in the immortal world cannot be ended. That is to say, Longfei is not dead. Jin Yuanzi pondered in his heart, and finally his eyes glanced directly at the land. Booming. Huang Tengteng's light of the Earth's book is constantly flashing, appearing directly on the body of the winning hook, turning into a powerful force, and winning the hook to protect it. Jin Yuanzi, you are looking for death. Seeing, winning under the power of their own, cannot persist, will soon fall. I never thought that at this time, it was not the three emperors who took the initiative, but the Yuan Yuanzi. The old saying is, but it is a choice for yourself. But also, the three saints killing a master of the nether, it is a bit unreasonable. Jin Yuanzi is self-sufficient, facing the saint, he is equally scrupulous. But now, there is not much time to consider this. Because he does not shoot, the winning hook will die. Even if Longfei is still alive, he will not join forces with them. Let's let go, this person is cholera, and the Lord still wants to tell him that you are coming to me. It seems that you want to try the sword of the Lord. The sky is furious, Shen Sheng said. Suddenly, Jin Yuanzi was silent. If you say that the previous sage shot is just a magic weapon, then, the next step is to kill. Boom. At this time, the change is sudden. A dark color broke the sky, from the boundless earth, raging. Step on the pedal, the war horse humming, the sound is like a thunder. Some, Daqin Baichi. Bing the life of the emperor, support Long Ting. Baichi took the lead, holding the sword to kill, for the heavens. In an instant, the killings broke out and skyrocketed, that is, the saints have some discoloration. Win. More than 2,000 years ago. He wants to shoot again. The voice was too heavy, and he looked at the black pressure, his face was very thick. It's not good. This group of people forced the heavens to crash almost last time. Finally they were expelled. I didn't expect it to come back now. It is difficult to calm down. Today's things are not good. I don't think this Long Ting and the man have already been stunned. The quasi-dike also faintly opened, looking at the front, very heavy. Ha ha ha, I won. Okay, kill. Come on, just kill the saint with the remnant of this seat, and wait for thousands of years. Win the hook and laugh. The arrival of the win is very gratifying to win the heart. At this time, a figure finally came out of the endless darkness. A good heavenly sage. 3 people deal with 1 person, good, good, good. Winning said 3 sentences, but one voice overwhelmed, showing the anger in his heart. Even more terror is that even at the moment of winning the show, even the faces of the 6 saints became extremely unnatural. It seems that the emergence of the win makes them feel the fear. Win, what are you going to do? Heaven is pity, let you live a life, you don't think about repentance, now you still want to go against the sky? Too angry. Pity. You are just afraid of the collapse of the heavens. Don't forget to put gold on your face. Win the cold voice, then look around and look at Tongtian. If I were you, take back the sword in your hand now. Or, you can trap me with your current swordsmanship. Otherwise, the widows will let you go to the top of the palace and slaughter. And you, if you think that your yin and yang furnace can refine it, you will continue to shoot. Otherwise, the oligarchy will make you Kunlun Yushu Palace, turned into ashes. Of course, you think that the 8 Views Palace can withstand the anger of the widows, you can continue to shoot. Win faint. Rage. Naked threat. However, at this moment, 3 people in the sky, no one dared to refute. Chapter 4859. Chapter 4859. Win the overbearing mouth, nothing to be holy. The real violent, even the saint in front of him, can only listen. Win, do you really want to go to heaven? Do you want to be an enemy of the heavenly saints? Tu gnashing his teeth, but the east seat in his hand stopped, and he did not dare to continue. As the winner said, he was afraid. If Longfei is here, it will certainly be shocked. Definitely will break the casserole for you. Look at the winds of the year, what did you do, and let the saints of the heavens be so jealous of him. Do not talk nonsense, the widows give you 3 time. After the 3 interest, you do not close, the emperor will start. Win said. Still violent, not aggressive. For a time, the face of the heavenly and earthly saints became extremely embarrassing. At this moment, the forces in the 3 realms are all there. They are heavenly and sages, and they have always been the object of respect for others. Wherever they go, others will surrender, and they will all say that a saint is on the top, and there has been such humiliation. However, in the face of the threat of winning, they are still unable to take it seriously, one by one in a dilemma. 2 interests. Win the cold indifference, among the scorpions, cold and frosty, proud of the world. Win, you are too much. The voice of the son-in-law was angry. You have to shoot, you can also try, I see a few of the Yaozu can survive. Win said, only my esteem, undoubtedly. Suddenly, the son-in-law was silent. The 3 people at the time of the day are even more incomparable, and the shot is not, and the hand is not. Continue to shoot, they are really afraid of winning will be unscrupulous, directly attack their line. But if you don't shoot, it means that they are acknowledging the winner. From then on, the saints are no longer majestic. Yes. Win again and open, just straight. At this time, the million Qin army led by Bai Qi was even more powerful at this time. Kill, kill, kill. The killing sounds rise to the sky, and for a time, the momentum is unparalleled. The 6 saints were so embarrassed at the moment that they could squeeze out the water. But after all, I will take back my own means. But, God has a good life. At this moment, winning the hook has been dying, killing is useless. Then the Taoist people opened their mouths and gave them a step. Hey! As several saints close their hands, the body of the winning hook is no longer controlled, falling directly from the void. At this moment, he was hurt too much. If he didn't hang in one breath, he was afraid that he would already die. At this time, the wind directly flies out, directly to the side of the win hook, will win the hook to catch. Working hard. Win said faintly. Reassured, can't die. However, Longfei's kid is dead. Winning the hook, looked at the son-in-law, filled with resentment. Win a glimpse, the expression solidified instantly. What do you say? Longfei is dead. Win a deep breath, the body's breath instantly condensed, covering the world. I don't know how to live and die, but I have already been in the refining pot by the son-in-law. It has been nearly a few hours. Win the hook and say. In an instant, the face of winning has changed. Don't say a few hours, even if the demon **** is taken into it, it will definitely not last a moment. Give me the refining pot. Win directly, the words are overbearing and cannot be rejected. Let's go, you are too arrogant, I will not kill the hook, it is already extregal, you even want to ask for the refining pot of the palace? Said the son-in-law. Nuer naturally refuses, this kind of thing is not just a ignorance, but a provocation. Don't force the widow to shoot, otherwise, you can't help it. Win said, his eyes are awkward and killing. Hey! But at this time, 6 saints stepped forward and 1 straight. Win, don't be too much. Enough, this world is still under the heavens. If you really have the ability, you will break this day, and then come back to me and wait for you to be arrogant. Yes, under the heavens, how can you? Several people opened their mouths and burned with anger on their faces. They have taken a step back, and this step, in any case, is impossible to retreat. The expression of winning is also more gloomy. Looking at the son-in-law, and looking at the refining pot in the void, step by step, it is necessary to shoot. Win is like this, lazy and more nonsense, can't make sense, just hit. At this time, the change is sudden. The refining demon pot, which was still shining in the void, suddenly burst into a terrible atmosphere at this moment. Well, winning a footstep, and immediately a happy face. Ha ha ha, I know, this kid can't die. The Windhoek also laughed. At this moment, they have already felt the atmosphere of the dragon flying among the refining pots. No, impossible, a few hours, even if the quasi-sacred can refine, how could it still be alive? This is absolutely impossible. The son-in-law's face changed greatly, and she quickly tried to control the refining pot. It is a pity that at the moment of her shot, the refining pot suddenly flew up and directly avoided this means. Ha ha, no death, I am waiting for hope. Well, I know, since the salary passed down to him, how could it die? Ha ha ha, my Terran is hopeful. The three emperors are also pleasantly surprised. Looking at the refining demon pot floating in the void, there is no reservation, and the magic weapon is sacrificed in a moment to stop in front of the saint. The picture, once again, enters the deadlock. However, the difference is that the saints used to block them. Now, they are blocking the saints. Gambling is right, the bet is right. I know that the reminder of the land book cannot be wrong. Chaos, this time really want to start. Zhen Yuanzi laughed. At this moment, he is very fortunate that he made a choice, otherwise, he will certainly be annoyed for life. At this time, on the top of the dragon court, I heard the voice above the void, and I saw the rioting refining demon pot, and the grief-stricken face regained its brilliance. Big bad guy. I know that he can't just die like this. Xuanyu cried, but it was so happy. Longfei brother is fine, great, great. Xiaoya is crying, loud and sad, can only be expressed with tears. Grown-ups is also a deep voice, but at the moment the heart is equally excited. Tushan Xiaoya's face also showed a hint of relief, and smiled gently, leaving tears falling in the corners of his mouth. All of this, all show that Longfei is still alive. However, they only guessed that Longfei was still alive, but did not know. At this point, the dragonfly in the refining pot has already awakened. However, even Longfei himself is awake and somewhat inexplicable. Nothing. I am fine. Is it because the system girl saved me? Longfei looked confused. Then I tried to contact the system and found that the system did not respond. No, not the system. It is Dantian. In the eyes of Longfei, the direct view of Dantian, just to see, at this time in his own Dantian, the image of the congenital gossip that had been refining before, has formed, and even a thick egg, once again appeared a crack. Chapter 4860. Chapter 4860. Longfei's heart is clear, and everything in front of him is caused by the changes in Dantian. He didn't know what was going on, but what is certain is that it was the change in Dantian that allowed him to be eroded by the power of the refining pot. Otherwise, now he is afraid that it has already turned into a pile of bones. Dantian's power has become more and more mysterious. According to this trend, it will take a long time to be able to really use it. In the eyes of Longfei, the light flashes. This day, he waited too long. Even, humming. After all, even the system sister would feel terrible for his Dantian. So Dantian can finally change to a point, and he also expects in his heart. For a long time, Longfei forced the shock in his heart and looked at the grey world. It is imperative to find a way to break this refining pot first. As for the other, I will wait until later. Longfei's heart must be. The next moment, invincible punches come out. Boom. A fist, a vast and difficult to describe with words, broke out from the hands. This kind of power is extremely horrible. Longfei even feels that under this boxing, under the big luo, it is slag. Rumble. Then, a huge roar sounded, and the entire refining pot was violently vibrating. However, this tremor was only a few seconds and it stopped. Longfei was slightly indulged and his expression was dignified. This punch, he has used all the power of the flesh, but did not expect, just shake it and write down. What he didn't know was that at this time, as he punched out, the refining pot became the focus of attention, and everyone's line of sight was instantly fixed on the refining pot. Ha ha ha, I said, this kid can't die. His means are not what you can imagine at all. Win the hook and laugh. At this point, the vibration of the refining pot, just to explain the response of Longfei. The expression of winning is also relaxed. At that moment, He almost broke out and wanted to shoot the saint. But now, since Longfei is not dead, the wind does not want to be so big. After all, Longfei is the lord of the Dragon Court. When he returns, how to decide? Naturally, Longfei decides that he does not want to take the lead. Not only are they, the son-in-law and other heavenly saints, but at the moment they also set their sights on the refining pot. Especially the son-in-law, this time is even more frosty. However, when they saw that the refining pot was only shaking and there was no more reaction, they were relieved. Hey, don't be too happy too early. The refining pot is innate, and the palace has been in existence for many years. Do you think he can break through the refining pot? Even if it is not dead, the Yongzhen refining pot, said the son-in-law. For the refining pot, the son-in-law has absolute confidence. Even if Longfei is not dead, he does not believe that Longfei can break through the refining pot. Nvois, don't talk big. Otherwise, a bet, Lao Tzu can guarantee that Longfei can not only come out, but even collapse your refining pot. Win the hook and look at it. In the presence, only he knows some of the dragon's clues, and he also knows a little about the means of Longfei. So I don't believe that Longfei will be trapped by the refining pot. Is this palace still afraid that you will not be? The girl's eyes glimpse and respond indifferently. For a time, the refining pots became the center of the world, and everyone's sights were fixed. At this time, in the refining pot, Longfei also calmed down. No, this refining pot is innate and treasured, and the power can no longer violently break through from inside. Longfei thought of it. Since it can become a congenital treasure, the mysterious point naturally does not need to say more. It is too difficult to break it by ordinary means. It is simply not realistic. As soon as I read this, Longfei's heart was a little hairy. Now he doesn't know what is going on outside, but he is swallowed up by the refining pot, and the Dragon Court must be flustered. Nowadays, only by breaking through the shackles of the refining pots as soon as possible can they be reassured. Do you want to use that flame? Is it not possible to refine this refining pot? Longfei Lingguang flashed. In my mind, I thought of the fire of Dantian. I want to use that power, built the world furnace, and the refining pot will be disintegrated from the inside. If you do it, you will do it. When you fly in your heart, you will condense the melting pot of the world. But at this time, a voice appeared in the mind of Longfei. Master, if you start the melting pot of the world, you are afraid that the entire Dragon Court will not be able to keep it. A crisp sound appeared. The dragon flew in action and his expression was happy. Surprise. This voice, for him, is simply a Scorpio. System sister, are you awake? Longfei was amazed. I have been awake for a long time, but I have not changed my mind before the owner, Dantian. The system sister said. Wake up early, then you don't shoot. If it weren't for the change in my Dantian, I would be refining this demon pot, and you might not even have a chance to speak. Longfei said, slightly dissatisfied. Master, what danger are you going to die? I will definitely shoot. However, with the strength of the owner Dantian, the power of this demon tower is simply not enough. The system sister said. This is true, but now the question is, how do I go out? Also, if I refine the refining pot, how can Longting affect? Longfei said. Now, the main concern of Longfei is naturally Longting. In particular, the sentence of the system sister just made him a little scared. Everything he did was naturally for the Dragon Court. If he used the melting pot of the heavens and the earth, and let the Dragon Court be destroyed, it was really tears. Master, now that your power in Dantian has not really been controlled, although it has changed a bit, it is still in a state of extreme violence. If you use it now, maybe it will be counterproductive. Not only can you not let Dantian further evolve, but you may also let the horrible power out of control. When you don't say it is Longting, the owner of your Dantian may be scrapped. The system sister said. Longfei heard it, and he stunned. There was a cold sweat on the forehead. Fortunately, the system sister blocked the timely, otherwise it would be really sad if it really caused a big disaster. What now? Longfei asked. Master, remember what I told you before? It is necessary to refine the Wanshan building. Today is an opportunity. Some time ago, I have analyzed the composition of this refining pot. After too long, I can directly assimilate the refining pot and re-recover the Wanshan building. The system sister said. What? Use the refining pot to activate the Wanshan building? When the dragon flies, he felt a shock. This news is too shocking. Not to mention the activation of the Wanshan building, that is, refining the demon pot, it is already an earth-shattering thing. Yes, Master, you wait a little while, wait until I activate this building, and you will be able to reproduce the world. Chapter 4861. Chapter 4861. Above the dragon's court, the wind is raging. Everyone is in silence, still staring at the refining pot. And the heavenly sage is now a sigh of relief on his face. Because of the refining pot, since the previous shock, there is no movement. It seems to be back to silence. This palace has already said that the refining pot is a congenital treasure. Even if he cannot die, he can sleep him. The son-in-law said, and her face was proud. Also, how awesome things are congenital. If you can be smashed by people, it is also called innate. Let's accept it. Heaven is only public, this is a troubled world, this is his best ending. Yes, as for winning, if you want to imagine more than 2,000 years ago, then, in spite of it, Tianting, Lingshan, and Yaozu will definitely kill your Qin soldiers and fly away. Taishang et al. For the win, they are taboo. But in the end, as a heavenly saint, they cannot retreat. If the winner wants to be in trouble, what they think is repression. At this point, the win of the eyes is still cold. I heard a few people open, no fear on the face, as you wish. No matter today, the dragon and the death, the Tianting Yaozu, and the Lingshan, do not have to leave. Winning a faint opening, violent. As always, the strength is as if it is for the saints. As for the three emperors, this time also silenced from the surprise. Whether it is a win or a win, in their hearts, it is only a strong man, but it is not a hope. The only hope is on Longfei. Therefore, at this moment, the only thoughts are only in the refining pot. The people on the dragon court, the surprises and smiles on their faces slowly disappeared. Looking at the refining pot on the void, it is extremely silent. Cowardly. Win, do you really think that you are invincible? Tongtian's swordsmanship is raging, and there is a big gesture. Invincible is not invincible, and the widows don't care. I only know that if I kill you, even if you are a saint, you must die. Win the indifference response. The scorpion is domineering, but I am the only one. The atmosphere, the moment is also cold, endless void, everywhere is the murderous spirit, as before, win the ****** battle, a big battle is also a hit. It is at this time. A mysterious light appeared silently, and the direction in which this mysterious light appears is exactly where Longfei is. Hey! At this moment, the refining pots trembled constantly, and the sound of humming sounds earth-shattering, and the atmosphere that can shake the heavens and the earth is constantly escaping from the refining pot. No, my refining pot! The son-in-law exclaimed. The expression on the face is no longer calm, and it can even be said that there are no more sages on the top, and some are just flustered. Sister, what happened? Asked at the opening, the eyes were cautious. The refining pot is out of my control, and I have even felt that my heavenly brand has been removed. The girl opened her mouth. As soon as this statement fell, all the faces of the saints changed dramatically. No one knows more about the terrible smell of heaven than they do. Unless they die, there will be no difference in the brand of heaven. But now, the son-in-law is still standing here, but the brand of heaven is erased, and the magic weapon of the saint is lost. This shows that the other party already has the power to fight against heaven. This change has caused them to start panicking. Impossible, he is just a big Luo Jinxian, even if there is no breakthrough in that step, how could it have such a terrible means? Yes, sister, you try again, maybe it is an illusion. It may be that the Tiandao brand is activated, and the kid is refining. The younger sister, that is the brand of heaven, how could it be erased? A few people are open and full of incredible. But the girl is a girl, but she does not say a word. This moment of change has exceeded her expectations. But she knew in her heart that her perception was not wrong. Not only did the Tiandao branding be removed, but even the refining pots were out of control. The changes in these series are naturally not to win. It seems that this kid has finally shot. Win the hook and say. It is natural for the three emperors to be hopeful and to make you feel like being alive. Winning a faint saying. At this time, the changes on the refining pots are becoming more and more fierce, and between the negligence, the ray of light flies in the sky. Boom. Finally, with a loud noise, the refining pot directly collapsed and turned into a starlight, dissipating between the heavens and the earth. And the figure of Longfei reappeared above the void at this moment. At this moment, every day, the saints were shocked and stunned, looking at the figure of Longfei, and looked awkward. Good boy, really have you? Even the innate magic weapon has been broken. Win the hook and laugh. And this social voice also attracted the attention of Longfei. For a moment, Longfei's anger broke out and it was difficult to contain it. Who did it? Longfei's voice is indifferent. Nothing, just that you were trapped and did a job with them. Win the hook and look fearless. But more, it is afraid that Longfei is too impulsive. After all, the strength is extremely tyrannical. Even if there is a win, it is difficult to ensure that nothing is lost. He didn't want Longfei to just get out of trouble, and he was in crisis. Longfei glimpsed a little, and he won the hook's temper. The understatement of the mouth, but can be hurt to this extent, the fierceness of the war can be imagined. In addition, the win hook is for yourself. If it is not for yourself, you can be your own master of the nether and win freely. Nowadays, he is fighting for his own anger, and he is so rude. Longfei's heart is also unwilling to go. Reassured, I will give you an explanation of this matter. No matter who I am, I will definitely let them pay the price. Longfei said coldly, and then looked at the saints of the heavens. Dragon, what did you do? What is the refining pot of the palace? Nvoir Indifference asked, very resentful. However, it is understandable that the son-in-law can have such a reaction. After all, the refining pot is a congenital magic weapon, and it is a magic weapon that the son-in-law has been cultivating for many years. Now it is smashed by the dragon, and naturally it will be extremely angry. As you can see, it has been smashed by me. Longfei said softly, he did not care. Let's go. Are you the treasure of the palace is rubbish? Said to be shattered and shattered. The woman screamed and angered, and the dragon said that she did not believe. And Longfei, the corner of the mouth is gently picking at this time, sneer. Rubbish. Really thought that the saint is invincible? Since you don't believe it, then blast one more for you to see. Longfei said coldly, and the system directly linked the system. System girl, can start. Longfei said. The next moment, a series of crisp sounds appeared in my mind. And on the body of Longfei, the breath began to surge at this moment, but the time of blinking was terrible. Hey, congratulations on the player upgrade. Chapter 4862. Chapter 4862. At this moment, Longfei has been waiting for too long. Since the initial killing of Manjusri, Longfei has already had a breakthrough condition. However, because of the factors of the supreme plane, the system is closed. Otherwise, this realm has already broken through. There is no need to be hesitant in front of the saints. Just do it. Fortunately, this moment is not too late. Perhaps it is just right. Nowadays, the saints are in front, just let them witness their own eyes and walk out of this step. Booming. The dragon's body was bursting with breath, and a horrible force surged on it. Breakthrough? This kid actually went to this step. Winning a hook, laughing and mad. Before the breakthrough, Longfei's combat power was comparable to the one that did not use that power, and now breaks through. It is already considered to be the strongest of the heavens. Even if it is a saint, it is impossible to suppress the dragonfly as before. It's finally this step. It seems that this time, there is hope. Win the mouth and pick it up, faintly said breakthrough. Impossible? How can that be? Under the control of Tiandao, that sequence has reached the extreme. Who can break through? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Fake, impossible. The sage is shocked. They are heavenly saints, and since the 2000 years ago, they have won the battle against the sky. Heaven has long been in control of the strong between heaven and earth, and it is impossible for anyone to break through that level. Such as the flow of Yang Lan. If it is not the suppression of heaven, they have already broken through. But now, Long Fei broke through under their eyes and instantly broke their cognition. At this time, Long Fei did not care what they thought at this time. At this moment, he has been immersed in the sound of the system and can't extricate himself. Hey, congratulations to the player upgrade, the current level is beyond the level. Experience 0-100. Hey, the player broke through to the new level, and the system planned the level as follows: detachment, command life, eternal life. Each stage is divided into 3 levels. Hey, congratulations to the players to practice the Manjusri and the mantra. Description: Lingshan Air Force is immune, Buddhism attacks immunity. A series of sounds appeared in the system. In addition to prompting the level of cultivation, it also exploded on the last killing of Manjusri. For a time, Long Fei felt a lot of things in his mind. But these things are of little use to him now. In addition to this Wenshu Gongfa mantra for him, he can make some use in the future when dealing with Lingshan. As for others, you can directly ignore it. Of course, these are not the main points. More importantly, with the breakthrough of Long Fei can clearly understand that at this moment, he looks at the heavens and the earth again, and looks at the starry sky. He is very thorough, and even he can clearly perceive the operation of the heavens. For a time, the feeling of captivity is even more filled in my heart. The whole world is a huge pasture. Outside this ranch, it is heaven. The power of heaven is like a circle of circles, surrounded by a circle of heaven and earth. In the heavens and the earth, the principles of all beings, the planning is clear. Even if he broke through to this realm at the moment, he only broke through a layer of embarrassment, and he was out of control of Tiandao. He wanted to play the power of this heaven, but he also felt very far away. Is this heaven? The sage is a good sage, and it's really good. Long Fei sneered. Perceived that layer, let Long Fei finally understand why the win is not to be subordinated to the people, thousands of years of layout, but also to fight again. I finally understood why the winner of the Hidden Lord did not do it, and he was so angry that he was a saint. In such a world, who can be a slave? For a time, Long Fei's heart was burning in anger, and then looking at the 6 heavens of the heavens and the earth, his eyes were full of pity. The so-called heavenly sage, the good point to say, is supreme. But the ugly point is just the watchdog of the ranch. Heavenly 6 saints, it is a poor pity. However, since you are willing to be under the heavens, then it is doomed that we can't be good. Also, since this war has begun, it will break out completely. Long Fei Scorpion is cold and faint. Brush it. For a time, all eyes were fixed on Long Fei. No one will doubt the true and false of this sentence. Because of the current Long Fei, I already have this qualification. Even if it is the heavenly 6th, it is silent at the moment. Because now, after the breakthrough, Long Fei has already had the capital to fight with them. Then, Long Fei's nephew swept across the crowd, and his eyes were cold and indifferent. But Tiandao Liusheng is still a silent face. At this moment, they really felt the seriousness of the situation. Long Fei broke through under their eyes and directly reached the level of the mixed yuan. At this level, even if they want to use the power of heaven to suppress, it is already impossible. More importantly, the power of heaven is basically useless for Long Fei. Otherwise, under the rules of heaven, Long Fei could not break through. Now, Long Fei is able to break through, and it has already been explained that he has jumped out of the heavens and become a person outside your path. Or, from the beginning to the end, Long Fei has not been within the supervision of Tiandao. Dragon, you are too arrogant. Do you not save the day? Asked too coldly. How about Tiandao? I am already outside the heavens, even if it is a heavenly road, what can I do? Long Fei responded softly. Heaven. Saint. This moment in the heart of Long Fei, completely divided, is no longer a deadly threat. Dragon, you have broken through to this level, don't make trouble again, you can have eternal life outside of heaven. Yes, Long Fei, you have to be clear, if you take another shot today, don't say that you are a dragon, even if it is heaven and earth, it will become a ruin. What time can you do what you do? This holy can allow you, the earth on earth, to be owned by your people. Heaven is no longer bound to the world, the Yaozu will open the demon world. How? Too high. Tongtian and the son-in-law have said a lot. They are already scared and have to regress. Especially the son-in-law, knowing that Longfei has already collapsed his magic weapon, but he can only swallow it and swallow it. The oath. Playing is really a good calculation. Now Tianting, Lingshan and Yaozu, the top forces of the three realms have basically come. How can I retire in one sentence? On earth, I am not rare. What I want is the whole world. Longfei said directly, he is overbearing. This is also the first time Longfei has declared his belief in this mythical world. Replaying myths is his mission and will never give up. Now the saints of the heavens directly want to use the world to let Longfei stop. Totally impossible. Then, Longfei took a step back and came to the side of the win. How about making a big wave? Longfei tentatively asked. Big? How big is it? Winning Rao is interested in watching Longfei. Try it, the saint is not true, not dead. Longfei Scorpion must be murderous. Chapter 4863. Chapter 4863. Longfei doubles like a knife, sweeping through the heavens. It can be said that the breakthrough to the detachment of the realm, so that Longfei's mind is soaring. He also wants to know to what extent his current combat power has reached. Heavenly saints are undoubtedly the best choice. Well, I wanted to do this 2,000 years ago, right now. However, now that you have broken through, there are some things that should be given back to the Emperor. Winning whispered, but the meaning of ambiguity, but the world is unparalleled. Longfei glimpsed a little, and immediately moved in the heart. Roar. The eternal airborne dragon directly flies out from the cornerstone of Xianmen and circling the void. Winning slightly raised, some accidents. This thing is a gift for you, I want it to be useless. Longfei said indifferently. Regarding what happened before, the winning hook has been passed to him. Therefore, I am grateful for winning the dragon. And this fate of luck, although it can make its Xianmen gas more powerful. But in fact, there is no fundamental effect. Instead, it gives a win and can exert the maximum effect. Then, in the hands of Longfei, a long sword appeared again. A long sword, the endless killing of the wind lingers the heavens. Hey! The long sword has a spirit, just flew out from the system space of Longfei, and instantly became happy, the sword is rushing, and the air is full of anger. At this moment, even in the eyes of the sage in the void, there is a touch of unusual. This long sword is not a magic weapon. Even the innate ones are not counted. But it is the winner, but it covers everything and becomes an invincible soldier. Dao Bing. The voice is too dull. As soon as this statement came out, the remaining few saints were on the face. The simple Tai A may not be terrible, but in the hands of the winner, it has become the supreme soldier, crushing the heavens and suppressing all enemies. Winning, holding the hand, is a king of the world, as if everything, not in the eyes. Even Longfei, in the heart of his mind, felt that this position was too strong. Okay, I can do it now. 3 emperors, can you shoot? Winning the eye, asked faintly. Longfei's sight naturally looked over. Although the 3 emperors had not shot before. But it is also excusable. After all, the saints are in front, even if they want to fight a battle, it will be useless. Nature. Winning you is the Terran Emperor. It can be said that the first person of the Terran Wars, I am the ancestor of the Terran, naturally will not stand by this battle, when the line, Shenyuan first stated that the Shenyuan sword in the hand was shocked, and Jianfeng pointed to the finger. Fushi is also nonsense. Above his hands, the gossip reappears, and stands opposite the Taishang. Shennong also sacrificed Shennong Ding, and invited the Yuan to begin. In the field, there are only 3 people left, Tongtian, Nua, and the Quasi-Dike. Lord of the Dragon, this battle, I am pulling the Quasi-Dike for you, but can guarantee that he will be innocent. Zhen Yuanzi is also a step at this time, and his eyes are very excited, calmly said. It is good. Longfei did not refuse. Zhen Yuanzi came in 1,000 miles, although he said that he was gambling, but he had the courage to act with the saints. This attitude has already explained everything and made Longfei extremely satisfied. Therefore, Longfei will naturally give each other a chance. Nvoir, you are not an opponent. What is the battle on this wall? Win said. In a word, let the son-in-law have no temper. Nua's face is green and red, and it changes constantly. But for a long time, I finally chose to be silent. Because he knows that winning is not a fake. 2,000 years ago, the victory almost made the heavens and the chaos, and their saints also began to die from that time. At this moment, Longfei also looked at Tongtian, a fight outside the sky. Longfei held his hand and said softly, "The sky is browse, and the killing of the world is bursting out. A good lord of the Dragon Court, you are too arrogant. I thought it would be difficult for me to break through. Tell you that it doesn't exist. The sound of the sky is cold. In the end, it is a heavenly saint, how can it be tolerated by the dragonfly so exciting?" The next moment, through the sky, a sword cut through the void, and the figure suddenly went away. The figure of Longfei was also chased out at this moment without any hesitation. At the same time, Fushi also said, "Too sage, fight outside the sky. Our strength is too strong, and this world cannot bear it. If you don't want the heaven to collapse, let's go," Fushi said, and then the figure took the lead. Then, Shenyuan, Shenong, Genuanzi, 3 figures also flew to the sky. At the moment, they are not passive, but take the initiative to fight. And all this is because of Longfei. If the people are too frosty, now they have to fight. Nothing else, just because they are heavenly saints, it is impossible to escape. The next moment, too, the beginning of the Yuan, the quasi-dike, and the introduction, the 4 entered the void at the same time. In an instant, above the entire Dragon Court, only the son-in-law and the winner. Nvoir did not say a word, did not have the willingness to shoot. And she also knows that even if she is shot, she is not an opponent to win. Kill. At this time, in the mouth of the cockroach, it is a faint spit out a word. Brush it. In an instant, the million Qin soldiers headed by Bai instantly broke through the sky and went upstream, directly attacking the 3 forces above the void. Boom. Nua's face changed dramatically. What do you mean? Are you not doing it? The Emperor just said that you don't have to do it with me. I have never said that I will let them go. Win a sneer, faintly said. The woman hates the sky, but it is too late to say anything. Under the command of Winning, Bai Qi led 1,000,000 Qin soldiers to direct 3 divisions to conquer the void. Damn, 1,000,000 people in the district, dare to take the initiative to shoot us. No, don't you know why the high-end combat power of Tianting is so small now? It is not that no one has cultivated to that extent, but those who are strong have been shackled by them for 2,000 years. Escape, these people are definitely not what we can deal with. Suddenly, there was a voice in the heavens, and the eyes were terrified. It was with Qin Bing Ying Feng and turned and left. Similarly, Lingshan is not much better. They also experienced the same battle more than 2,000 years ago, so now they are turning around and they are not afraid to face each other. Only the Yaozu. After the gods were sealed, they were concealed and rarely walked around the world. They didn't understand anything that happened more than 2,000 years ago. Now that Qin Bing has been shot, not only is there no fear, but he is eager to try and surrender. Below, the son-in-law saw this scene, and suddenly there was a sigh of relief in his eyes. Lead the Yaozu to retreat. The son-in-law directly told me. However, it is still late. At the moment of his opening, hundreds of thousands of Qin soldiers have poured into the endless demon. The slaughter begins in an instant. No, how could it be so strong? We are demon people, why are our flesh and we can't hold back their strength? God, Tai, Da Luo, this is the all-powered Tai core. Who can stop this kind of strength? Flee. In an instant, the demon blasted directly into the pot, and countless screams filled the void. Chapter 4864. Chapter 4864. Above the void, the land outside the sky. Longfei and Tongtian have their own side. But at this time, standing still, it does not mean that they did not play. At this time, it is a collision between the road and the road. I saw the body of heaven, the power of heaven and earth surged, like the sword of heaven, wrapped in the power of the heavens and earth, crushed down. And Longfei, at the moment, is also a surging force. 8 large characters wrap around the body. Zhangxing Avenue, everyone is like a dragon. At the beginning, Longfei made such a road in the ancient world, so now, the breakthrough is beyond the realm of the realm. He is still a humane world with the power of humanity. Roar, roar, roar. On the body of Longfei, there is a dragon and shadow in the road, and the will of all beings is transformed into a dragon. Humanity. Tongtian's face changed. At first, when Longfei broke through, he did not show any strength. Even if he only felt that Longfei had broken through to that level of realm, it was beyond the scope of heaven, but he did not know what Longfei found. Now, when Longfei's power is on display, he is completely clear. No wonder the 3 emperors, even if they turn their faces with us, but also to protect you. It seems that they have already calculated what has been done. Tongtian said quietly. Longfei is not allowed. The performance of the 3 emperors is in his eyes. Do not say anything else, that is, they are willing to fight for the saints for their own actions, they have already shown their determination. At least, this point is extremely gratifying to Longfei. They are the ancestors of the Terran, and they are humane. The 3 can stand in their own positions, and they have already stated that they still follow the humanity. It's no good to say more. Since you are willing to be a saint and a supernatural person, you should think of this day. Longfei said indifferently. The sage is a sage, and the sage is like a hyena. This is the root of oppression and resistance, nothing to do with others. Oh, ignorant. If there is no heaven, the heavens and the earth will not exist. How come Zhangxing? If the life is free, the sky is not heaven, how come to survive? Tongtian eyes cold, Shunsheng said. A dragon flies. He has not considered this question. Tongtian said it is good. Any world, any country, has its own rules. As today, it is the big rule of the whole world. You are doing a good job. Any world needs a rule. But the rules are not equal to the bondage. It is not equal to the control. The tens of thousands of frosts are free to race. They are all born free, why do they have to bear the blame? The sages are high, the heavens are free, the Lingshan is only for faith, and the Yaozu is in vain. This is your heavenly way, so heavenly, what to use? Longfei snorted. If the mythical world is still clear, the system will not give him a task to repeat the mythical world. Do not say anything else, at least the 3 views of the system are still very positive. Since this time, so thoroughly let him repeat the myth, it shows that the previous myth has been decaying and needs to be recast. And Tongtian, at this time also chose silence. As a heavenly saint, he is more clear than Longfei. Because heaven is not the way of nature, but the way of the Tao. Tao's incarnation of the Tao, there has been confusion. But after a while, Tongtian looked cold and directly sacrificed 4 long swords. Zhu Xian, the immortal, trapped in the fairy. On the 4 swords, the sword is swaying, and the fairy light shines, containing the power of terror. The heavens are changing, no matter what, it's not until the end of the year, and so on, and it's even more than you can overthrow it. Swords, get up. I sighed and gaze. Booming. The next moment, the horrible sword array directly condenses in the void, the 4 swords of the immortal, the tyrannical, the breath sweeps the world. In an instant, Longfei felt that the whole world was a world of swords. The endless swords are intertwined and very fierce. Sure enough, it is the sanctuary of the killing of the heavens, and the sword array is out, and it is going to squat. Longfei's eyes are slightly condensed. There is a sword in the sky, and every sword has revealed the horrible horror. Longfei even has a feeling. This kind of sword, not to mention Jinxian, even if it is semi-holy, wants to resist, absolutely not easy. Longfei shouted. The sorcerer's sword is in his hands and slams. The white bone-long sword flashes in the hands of the white man's, which is completely different from the swordlight of Tongtian. However, this does not mean that the demon sword will not work. After all, now the demon sword is already a 5-level demon, and the horror is incomparable. Brush. The sorcerer's sword screamed away and rushed directly into the sword array, suddenly colliding with thousands of swords. Booming. In an instant, a horrible atmosphere was exposed. Even in the land of the sky, it is difficult to bear this power, and one hole after another is pierced by the sword. If you only have this means, stop early. The sword of the Lord is not so easy to break. Tongtien's voice is cold, and the hand pushes. Boom. The swords are rampant and under pressure. Just between the thoughts, it falls directly on the top of Longfei's head. The dragon's face is unchanged, the body is slightly curved, and the invincible punches reunite. Invincible punch. After a heavy drink, Longfei's scorpion is as hard as iron, and a determined domineering oil is on the body. As if, this punch is blasting, it is invincible. I am invincible, only I am respectful. Boom. Under the punch, the entire Zhenxian sword array began to shake vigorously, roaring constantly. Hey! 3 days in the sky, the eyes are extremely impressive. He also did not think that the means of Longfei was so terrible, but his fist had already shaken his sword. Your swordsmanship is not so good. You can't break the sword. It's not my strength, but your kendo is too much. Longfei said faintly. As a breakthrough, the benefits brought to Longfei are indescribable. Not to mention that the basic combat power has increased by dozens of times, and even the strength of the flesh has also improved. In addition to the transformation of the body in the refining pot before the Dantian power, at this time, under this boxing, it is no less inferior to the Kowloon Royal. Oh, the tongue is fast. You can wait until you break the sword of the church and say it. One step at a time, the shock in the heart, and then the hands move, holding a sword in the sword array out of thin air, and then out of thin air one thorn, Zhuxian. Tongtian shouted, the situation is like a broken bamboo, with the body of the saint, the display of a sword. Boom. In an instant, Longfei only felt that the power of the sword array had a huge pressure of volatility, and even if he felt the scalp numb. Under this pressure, Longfei can even feel that the eternal light of the characters has been oppressed and become dull. Good horror, this sword has already had the power of martyrdom. Longfei thought brightly. This sword is too strong. That is, he made a direct pass after the breakthrough. If it is to change to a normal person, afraid that it is under this sword, the fruit must be split. With this in mind, Longfei did not dare to have the slightest meaning. Kowloon Royal Sky. The last law sanctions. Without any hesitation, the dragon sword in the hands of Longfei disappeared, and the blade of the king replaced it, and then slammed it out. Chapter 4865. Chapter 4865. Longfei shot aloud, and the blade of the kings swept the void. Hey! Kowloon roared, swaying up and down, arbitrarily impacting the Tongtian sword array. And the figure of Longfei is also set off by the dragon, and then squats. Falling the fairy. There is another sword in the sky. Booming. Knife Man collided with Zhenguang, and the sword shadowed the sky. Dragon Town. Longfei sighed and made another knife. At this time, the Mad Dragon Town boundary is definitely not comparable. Nowadays, the Mad Dragon that has been thrown out is still only 1,000, but the horror atmosphere is several times stronger than the original. A knife swayed out, between the whimsical whistling dragons, the incomparable arrogant breath directly suppressed the world, like this world, has not been able to accommodate the existence of this power, above the real mania. The best. The sky is orderly, and a sword is produced. At this moment, the Tongtian sword array has produced 3 swords. Under the 3 swords, the power of infinite horror has completely broken out. Brush the brush. Zhuxian, trapped in the fairy, the immortal, the 3 swords have been able to show, a sword between the sky is shattered, a gap between the sword burst. The means of Longfei is also extraordinary, especially after the breakthrough, the power of the eternal character is also fully revealed. Everyone is like a dragon, an avenue of life, and morality surrounds the body of Longfei. At this moment, Longfei is the Taoist, representing the common war. Rumble. 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 The continuous void was cracked, and the endless sky was trembled at this moment, pale and empty. At this moment, whether it is Longfei or Tongtian, I know that I have reached a critical moment. No matter who it is, As long as the means can't keep up, the result will fail. Zhuxian. The sound of the sky sank. Boom. The four swords come together, and the real horror finally comes down. The four swords of Zhuxian are condensed at the moment, and the four swords are like a sword. Kids, even when the gods are sealed, they have not forced the four swords to be united. Now they are used to marry you. You can be proud of yourself. Tong Tian said quietly, and his voice revealed a proud and singularity. There is even a slight contempt. It seems that under this sword, it is Longfei, and it has to bow down. Longfei's eyes were condensed, and a sense of coldness swept the whole body. Zhongtian hanging sword, at stake. It is this feeling. When the four swords of Zhuxian came out, the oppression suddenly increased sharply. It is that Longfei feels the shock of the spirit, and even the eternal life of the eternal life has been fierce, as if it was provoked. Boom. The next moment, the eternal life of the sigh of breath, directly wipe this breath. Longfei's eyes have also returned to calm. Is the four swords together? Longfei has a tight heart. At this time, all the means of Longfei have been done, and now the fourth knife of the king, how can not be condensed? Therefore, the third knife is against the dragon, and it cannot be used. The only one that is pinned is the special power of the sword. However, the conditions for the activation of the skill of the demon sword are too harsh, and can be activated only if their vitality is less than 30%. Master, use the magic sword. This time I integrated the system, I have checked for missing traps, and emptied the level of the sword before the sword. It is equal to the re-engineering, and the level is directly attributed to the 3 before the power remains unchanged. Level. At this time, the voice of the system sister appeared again. Check for missing traps. There are also bugs on the magic sword. Longfei stunned. If it wasn't for the system sister, Longfei felt a little unbelievable. Yes, master, the demon sword has risen to the 8th level in the heavens and the world. After the system was updated, it was redefined as 5, and then on the earth once again swallowed the evil spirit of the cemetery ******* Anubi. It has been upgraded, although the power has improved, but the level has not changed, which also affects the power of the sword. To some extent, the system sister explained. Well, you said so, is that a system bug? Longfei asked. I can't tell, because you know the origin of the sorcerer's sword, it is the world of celestial beings, the endless cultivator kills and dies, and condenses on the bones. This power is somewhat special and has been inactive all the time. The decision to cause the system to rank the item cannot be determined, said the system sister. A dragon flew, and immediately understood. Just like in many times in the game, the hidden attributes of the equipment are general. If you don't deliberately dig, it will not work at all. What about now? Asked Longfei. In this case, in the face of Tongtian's sword array, the system sister suggested that she would use the scorpion sword, and she would never be targeted. It must have her intentions. Now I have already completed the loopholes in this area. In the sword, the anti-day killing has also been activated. As long as the master casts, the power may not be weaker than the power of the Devil's Town, said the system sister. Longfei stunned, this subconsciously looked at the scorpion sword. Level 3. Description: the Invincible strong conquers the scent of the heavens, and is the soldier of the rebellion. Skills: must kill, repaired in the player's 5 small levels of orientation, direct spike. Within 10 levels, probability spike. Special reminder: the sorcerer's sword contains the meaning of the invincible strong, and the opposite is the celestial. It can be used in the whole plane world, and it can increase the power by 300% 3 times. In an instant, the dragon flew. This kind of data is simply against the sky. System sister, what is this repair in the end? Is it possible, a sword spike? Longfei asked. Can't kill. Master, Tongtian's cultivation is only detached from the 9th level. But he has already entered the heavens are not destroyed, the saints are not dead. Even if it is a scorpion sword, it will destroy its body at most, unless the master can destroy the heavens. When the Tiandao saints arrive, a sword can kill, said the system sister. Longfei nodded. Although I was a bit disappointed with this result, at this time, Let him know the change of the demon sword, there is still a huge surprise. The next moment, Longfei's eyes turned, the hands of the king's blade disappeared, and the magic sword appeared again in the hands. How? Is it poor? Longfei did not care, did not ask, lifted the sword in his hand, straight to Tongtian. Activate. The dragon's mouth is faint. And as the dragon's voice fell, the scorpion's sword was on top of it, and a ray of light suddenly broke out. Then, it was a figure, condensed, and looked at the sky in front of him, instantly scared eyes and killing the sky. Dao, heaven walks the dog. Although it is different from my world, my generation of monks will never be slaves. Kill. One after another, hovering over the void. In an instant, Tongtian's face was awkward, and he could no longer remain calm and directly became pale. Chapter 4866. Chapter 4866. These thousands of wars almost condensed into a substantial impact, even if the four swords, at this moment began to shake sharply. So horrible. Longfei has felt the shock of the heart. This power, after the system sister repaired, was even more terrifying than when it was killing Kang. At the beginning, Kang was also the Taoist world, and also the master of the world, captive. Even if the world of Tongxian can't compare with the earth, it is also very good. Booming. A figure of the figure smashed out with the sword of the scorpion, and the power of the shocking world broke out directly on the sword array. Rumble. The swordsman roared, and the four swords of Tongtian also began to be stirred up by the swords of the sky at this moment, and the order was disordered, even if you were able to control it yourself. Collapse. Just a blink of an eye, Yang Xianjian took the lead from the control of Tongtian. No, yelled at the sky. The power of the four swords is definitely not in the sword itself, but because of the formation, the power will become enormous. But now, the sacred sword is out of the battle under the impact of this war, which represents the beginning of the collapse of the entire sword array. The trough, too fierce. No wonder the system sister now let me use the demon sword, this is simply a weapon. Longfei thought. If it is placed somewhere else, the power of the magic sword may not reach this level. Even in front of the innate treasure, it is in a disadvantage. It is a pity that Tongtian is a heavenly sage and directly detonates the special power of the scorpion sword, making his advantage at this moment. Impossible. What is this power? Why even the power of the saints of this teaching can be suppressed, I don't believe. Tongtian's face is gloomy and unbelievable. Unfortunately, Longfei will not explain at all. This power is used once less, and there are still many saints in the heavens. Now it can suppress the sky, and it can also suppress others in the future. If you say it, let them have defenses, how can Longfei be done? At this moment, as the system sister wakes up, the state of the body at the moment and the boss attribute are also vividly displayed. The whole body is full of glaring golden light, shining brilliantly. This kind of light makes Longfei's heart full of desire. Super big boss, and in no way inferior to the level of extinction of the six eternal life of the eternal life. Longfei was very excited. At the beginning, the Lord of the Temple of Eternal Life burst out with something unimaginable. Longfei has been thinking about it until now. Unfortunately, there haven't been many bosses since then, and the system tasks have never been triggered, so there is no chance to get the activation volume to activate the Legion system. You know, he is now in the system space. There are more than 100 system heroes naked. All can only wait for the activation of the Legion. After they are opened, they can be equipped. In one thought, Longfei's heart slammed and the killings broke out. This is a saint. If you can smash it, it might be even more horrible to say something. Longfei thought, full of expectations. You must know that he is now a breakthrough, even if he is waiting for someone else, it may not be a boss. The only possibility is the 6 saints in front of you. Boss is in front, can you still fight? Impossible. Especially Longfei, the old driver of the fun system, naturally more clearly, the boss is the source of reborn, and now the boss property of the sky is displayed, it will not stop. Moreover, the power of the demon sword is now absolutely suppressed for Tongtian. He is ill and wants him to die. Longfei's eyes crossed and his body suddenly slammed into it. The heavenly sage is right. I have already said it before. I want to see if the saint is really immortal. Today, let's start with you. Long Fei looked awkward and smashed his sword in his hand. Booming. It was another horrible power that erupted and went against the pressure of the sky. Do you want to marry me? The sky was amazed and the heart was so angry. Under the universal sky, the saints are supreme. Who dares to tell them about life and death? But nowadays, not only is the power suppressed by Long Fei, but Long Fei has also given birth to killing. This kind of speech directly caused the anger of Tongqian's heart to break out. What are you doing? The saints can make a life and death, others can't decide you are born and died. What logic is this? Long Fei said, with a sneer in his eyes. The sages are patrolling, and they are always on the top. They have always said that the fate of the world is under their control. However, this does not exist for Long Fei. Let's go, Long Fei. Can you really suppress it? Can you deal with this seat? Sinking fairy, out. The cold light flashed in the eyes of the sky, and there was no reservation at this moment. The three swords roared out between the backhands. Rumble. The sword is filled with the void, and the three swords are law. Long Fei, I have to say that you can become a chaotic person. It is really a means. However, in the moment you shoot this seat, you can only explain that you are too naive. The means of saints is not something you can imagine. The weather is raging, the sky is wild, the three swords of the celestial circle are hovering in the air, and the endless killing comes. Long Fei's eyes are condensed and somewhat aggressive. This reversal came too fast. The moment before, it was still shocked by the power in his hands. I didn't expect it to reunite in the blink of an eye, and it was even more violent than before. Not only that, even the light of the boss on it has become more intense, from the previous golden light to the purple light. In an instant, Long Fei's gaze is also a condensate. This change is too sudden, and the attack of Long Fei is also abrupt. At this time, the hands of the sky are floating, and the sky is full of sorrows. The whole sky begins to become chaotic, and the vortex of power gathers above the top of the head, which is extremely terrifying. Heavenly, heaven. You know that I am a heavenly saint, then you should not provoke. Since you want to kill the saint, then today, this teaching will let you see the horror of heaven. The sound of the sky is cold. The power of heaven. Long Fei gaze. At this moment, I have already learned why Tongqian's body has become so arrogant. Because of the power of the moment, the power used is no longer simply a saint force, but a temperament. It is precisely because of this that his body will be filled with purple light. With the emergence of the vortex above the sky, Long Fei also felt an incomparably vast force, condensed out in the void, oppressed in the heart. And Long Fei, I don't know, there are several other battlefields at this time. All the battles stopped at this moment. The power of heaven. The master of Tongqian is crazy. Confused, is this dragon flying so difficult, can actually force the younger brother to use these forces? Not good. 3 emperors, this war is a stop, I have to wait for the technique of the heavens. If the heavens are rioted, the whole world will collapse. Too high, the Quasi-Dike and the Yuantia 3 said, no longer calm. Chapter 4867. Chapter 4867. The saints were shocked and incomparable. No one thought that Long Fei had the means to force the sky to such a degree. Because the Sage Zone combat power is already the pinnacle of the mythical world. If you use the power of heaven, it is already a level. Moreover, the power of heaven is generally not to be used. Otherwise, it will cause turbulence in heaven, and the whole world will be ruined by then. What? The power of heaven? Tongqian brother is crazy. The son-in-law's face is also a change. As a sage of heaven, she is no stranger to this power. So when this breath appeared, the face of the son-in-law changed instantly. Not only her, but even her face has changed. The power of heaven. It seems that Long Fei, no one let the widows disappoint. Winning the corner of the mouth, do not worry. Instead, there is an intention and expectation. Win, disappointment. Don't you know the importance of the power of heaven? Do you want to see the complete collapse of this world? The woman yelled. The collapse of heaven and earth means that everything will go down. Any existence under the heavens will become nothingness, and it will be annihilated and become a powder between heaven and earth. How about that? If it is not destroyed, the heavens will not collapse. How can there be a new way of doing things? The Win is totally disapproving. The whole world's horror has not caused any emotional changes, but it is a showing the power of heaven and showing a strong interest. Win, you are a madman. If the heavens collapse, you think that you can survive, even if this power can't hurt you, but you will survive without one. The female voice is full of silence. For the Win, the teeth that she hated in her heart tickle, and now I can't help but want to shoot, to find out. However, the Win is here. If she is shot, she is really afraid of winning and turning the Tianshan Lingshan and the Yaozu. In desperation, I can only resist the impulse of my heart. What they don't know is the place outside the sky. Longfei looked at the violent sky, and his heart was also alarmed. Heavenly Sage, Levi Heaven. Hong Meng is awe-inspiring, suppressing the world. The power of heaven is really extraordinary. It seems that the power of the sword can finally suppress the sky, otherwise it will not let Tongtian display this power. Longfei thought. In his opinion, Tongtian has already used the cards. Longfei can force this teaching to use the power of heaven. You are also proud of yourself. Tongtian body swords, 4 swords under the blessing of the power of heaven, the power burst out, more transcendental. It seems that every sword trembles, and it will set off the disaster of heaven and earth. Under the heavens, killing the saints means that there is no need to say more. But do you think that you have the opportunity to display it? Longfei said faintly. The voice has not fallen. A few figures suddenly appeared. Hey! You can't be a younger brother. The younger brothers closed their hands. Brother, don't. Yeah, brother of heaven, this sword will fall, the heavens and the earth will not exist, and must not fall. The 4 people in the top are all there, even if they are heavenly saints, they can't keep calm at this time. Longfei looked at this scene with a light smile on his lips. Sure enough, everything is the same as he thought. Although this power is strong, the current Tongtian does not dare to display it. Because now, Tiandao is already in chaos. If the power of heaven is exerted at this moment, it will inevitably lead to chaos. By then, the whole world will change and be free from their control. That result is definitely not what they can afford. Hey! At this time, several figures came. The 3 emperors, Zhen Yuanzi, together with the serious injury, have appeared in this place. A few people didn't open their mouths, watching the 4 swords that were hanging, and the power of the ever-changing heavens, and the domes that had gathered into a whirlpool, all sucking a sigh of coolness. It is they who have never seen the power of the saints to use heaven. They, although they have found their own way, have escaped from heaven. But now, seeing this horrible breath, it is still extremely shocking. Even a few minutes have fallen. They think they can fight the saints and they have no scruples. But now you can see the power of the saints to display the heavens, or you can clearly feel the gap. In particular, winning the hook, arrogant, and now naturally have some blows. You must know that this is only the power of the saints to display the heavens. If it is the power of the heavens itself, they simply don't dare to imagine. Of course, even more shocking is the current dragonfly. Longfei has just broken through to this level, and it has been able to force the saints to exert the power of heaven, which is really terrifying. Good boy, what did you do in the end? Even let the power of Tongtian, even the heavens, be used. The Win hook slammed. Nothing, I took out a sword and broke his sword. So, it has become now. Longfei said in an understatement. But only in the heart of Longfei, he knows that this is the reason for the endless killing contained in the sword. If it weren't for the sorcerer's sword that was re-repaired, it would not be possible to make such an effect. Win the hook. Winning the hook is a bit speechless and feels a crit. Nothing beats people more than this. A few days ago, before the moon, Longfei still needed them to stand on the platform. But now, as soon as it breaks through, it can crush the saints, and the combat power is above them. Phenomenon. Win the hook and spit out 2 words. The 3 emperors are also deeply aware of the face, constantly thinking. Only Zhen Yuanzi is excited. The stronger the strength of Longfei, the more it proves that this time he stood in the team, he chose the right one, and his heart is naturally very gratified. At this time, all the eye-catching eyes, in addition to Longfei, naturally is Tongtian. Sister brothers and sisters, it is not the teacher who wants to kill the killer, but you don't even know the power of this child. If you change it, you will make a choice. In short, today, this son will not die, he will collapse every day. Tongtian said coldly. Very determined. And incomparably affirmed. Hiss. The faces of the 4 people are all sinking, and some are unbelievable. The next moment, a few people looked at Longfei, his face was gloomy. Well, if this is the case, I will wait for this side of the world to be removed from the heavens. You have smashed this because of the application. Obviously, the words of Tongtian made his heart move. I didn't dare to take risks and give Longfei more time. This is the case. You can also mobilize the heavens, if the 3 emperors shot, directly kill. Too much told me. The next moment, too, the beginning of the yuan, the quasi-dike. There was a sudden burst of light between the 3 men, and between the 2 turns, the power of the road directly wrapped the square. And Longfei, at this moment, can feel that an indescribable Wei Li has come to lift this square of heaven and earth away from the mythical world. Chapter 4868. Chapter 4868. Longfei's eyes narrowed, and boundless warfare burst into his heart. At the same time, my heart is also linked to the system. He didn't know if his sword could hold it under the power of the heavens, but if he wanted to destroy the heavens, with the current strength, it was not enough. System sister, what do you do now? Longfei asked. It's not relying on the system, but Longfei wants to understand the specific power category of the power of heaven, so that he can make the next choice. It has reached the point where it is now, even if it is Dantian and the coffin of eternal life, Longfei cannot shrink back. Moreover, Wingo was seriously injured for his sake. If the saint cannot be paid, then even if he is safe and sound, Longfei will not feel at ease. Master, the power you have now cannot withstand the repression of heaven. But rest assured, I have already figured out how to deal with it. System girl responded. What way? Longfei's eyes lightened. Master, have you forgotten? I have been repairing the Pantheon building, and before I swallowed the power of the demon pot, now the Pantheon building has been condensed, said the system sister. The power of the Pantheon? Longfei's heart moved, and a figure flashed in his mind. If the Pantheon really comes back, then the former one will be summoned. What a natural way, it will be turned over with a single palm. Yeah, but the Pantheon Tower is recovering, but it is different from before. Because it was my initiative to recover it, it is already a system product. Now the system is being implanted. When it is completely completed, the main talent can be used, maybe it can still get the system reward. Said the system sister. Longfei froze, but soon understood. Although said, now has evolved to the ultimate. But the power of the system comes from the supreme plane. If you want to use the power of the system, you will naturally be affected by the supreme plane. Otherwise, the system girl will not take the pains to escape the test of supreme. It can only be said that although the system girl has the means to avoid the view of the supreme plane, his system is already heterogeneous, and to a certain extent, it has been out of the control of the supreme plane. How long will it take to complete? Longfei asked. Now, Longfei has no time to consider the supreme. It would be useless to consider more if you couldn't get through the disaster in front of you. Now that it has entered the final stage, it will take almost a few minutes to complete it completely. However, in these few minutes, it is up to the master to figure it out. Said the system sister. Longfei had a meal in his heart. Just wanting to speak, but suddenly a system prompt sounded in my mind. Ding, congratulations to the player resurrecting the Pantheon. The system is currently being implanted. The system is being implanted 30%, please continue to wait. The cold sound of the system appeared. When Longfei wanted to contact the system girl again, he found that the system girl had disappeared. A few minutes. Then resist. I still don't believe it. The power of heaven is so fierce that it can destroy me in a few minutes. Long Fei gritted his teeth. This situation can only be rigid. There is no other better way. And also at this time, above the void, Tongqian's complexion became extremely silver, with a touch of smirk, a finger sky. Rumble. 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 Suddenly, in the purple vortex condensed above the dome, forces began to pour into the heavenly body. Moreover, with the infusion of this power, the 4 fairy swords in Tongqian's hands also began to glow with horror. Brush the brush. Immediately after that, the horrific swordsmanship began to rag. Each sword contains supreme power. That power crushes people's spirits and destroys people's will. As if, in the face of this breath, everything is ants. Even Long Fei, at this time, also felt an irresistible force, acting on the soul, and it was extremely painful. Hey! For a moment, the coffin of eternal life trembled. Da. The coffin cover of the coffin of eternal life is beating at this moment, and the forces of eternal life are flowing out, expelling this pressure. This is how Long Fei's expression returned to nature. But with the shock of the power of eternal life, Long Fei still felt some pain. Dare to struggle? Long Fei, take your fate. Although these 4 swords are still the swords of this religion, they now have the power of heaven, which is the sword of heaven. Long Fei, under the pressure of the power of the Tao, was able to resist perseverance and was even more unhappy. At the same time, the heart to kill Long Fei is also more steadfast. Not only him, but 2 good people to see everything in their eyes, and finally recognized Tongqian's words. Just breaking through, even the power of heaven can resist. If there were some incidents for Long Fei, I am afraid that it is the entire heavenly road, and the chickens and dogs in front of him will be vulnerable. For a moment, in addition to manipulating the power in their hands, they also blessed their saints' wills to the power of the heavens elicited by Tongqian. Rumble. For a time, the power of heaven was more turbulent. At this moment, it is no longer just one person who is in heaven, but the 5 sages of heaven. There is only one will of the 5 sages in heaven, which is to obliterate Long Fei. Puff. Instantly, Long Fei's heart sank. The power of eternal life, the soul of eternal life were difficult to restrain. After all, the power of eternal life he now controls is limited, but at this moment the will of the 5 sages of heaven is all. At this moment, all of them want to set the dragon to death. Without it, it's just because the power shown by Long Fei is too terrifying. If they do not suppress it now, it will most likely become their nightmare. Shameless. 5 saints shot and killed one. No, I'll let the winner win, let's fight it out. Winning anger was unstoppable, and before turning around, he wanted to return to Long Ting. But before he left, the lead was already spoken. Win the hook, stay. Long Fei can carry the power of heaven, not necessarily you can see. If you dare to move, you are suppressed by the power of heaven. At this time, they must not allow any accidents. Obviously, they are equally frightened of winning. If the power of the Tao is motivated today, the sage will come to exterminate the dragon. If the winning hand is allowed at this time, they will inevitably fall into the passive. It will be more difficult to kill Long Fei at that time. Therefore, at this time, they must not allow any accidents. At this time, Long Fei's complexion became extremely gloomy. Under the impact of the saint's killing intention, the spirits began to faint, even the power of eternal life was useless. Time and time again, Long Fei's figure gradually began to fall down. System, how long will it take? Long Fei forced the pain and asked. Ding, the current degree of implantation is 80%, and it is expected to take another minute. The system voice fell relentlessly. Chapter 4869. Chapter 4869. 1 minute seemed short. But at this time, it was fatal to Long Fei. The will of the saints is not a joke, but also the absolute killing intention of the 5 saints. Coupled with the power of this heavenly way, it is all about playing dragon flying to death. In this case, let alone a minute, it is a few breaths, which is a kind of death compression for Long Fei. No, for a minute, I can't carry it. Long Fei thought to himself. Now even the power of eternal life cannot resist. Unless the coffin of eternal life is sacrificed as in the last time, it will not be carried at all. However, Long Fei knew better that the sequelae of the eternal life coffin were not small. Even if he has now gathered the soul of eternal life, it is still difficult to bear the weight of the coffin of eternal life. What's more, we are now facing the heavenly saints. The people of the former spirit mountain, compared with them, are not at a level. If the coffin of eternal life is used, it will be more serious in the future. Long Fei was pondering, hesitant. What he didn't know was that he was above Long Ting at this time. Win seemed to feel something, his eyes became cold. The next moment, in one step, walked directly into the sky, ready to enter the world. At this moment, the son-in-law moved. Win, you blocked this house just now, so now no one should go in. And, you also said that this battle, no shot. The son-in-law in turn won the demon. Win can feel unusual, and she is naturally the same. Although he didn't know what was going on, he could let the saints of the heavens come together and even bless them in the power of heaven. However, if they win, it will definitely affect them. So at this moment, she must not let the winning hand. I'm going to take a shot, can you stop it? Ying responded indifferently. For the son-in-law's words, he didn't take his eyes at all. The eternal domineering emperor embodies endlessness. You, the son-in-law said. In the face of winning rage, she really has nothing to do. Strength is the best illustration. 2,000 years ago, Win was able to use its own power to impact the heavenly path and cause it to be chaotic, forcing their saints to hide to repair the heavenly path. So now, the power of winning can do the same. And, maybe it has become stronger. Remember, don't say that you are a saint in heaven, even if you are ***** in heaven. If the emperor does not want it, you cannot control the will of the emperor. Now, you have two options. One is to push away obediently. Second, just stop me. But how to choose, you can think clearly. If you choose the second one, I can guarantee that I will kill you alive. Ying said lightly, his tone became extremely cold. Win, you are too violent. What you can't do 2,000 years ago, why are you so determined now? Nua's face turned green and red, changing constantly. You also said that it was 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago, he couldn't do it, it doesn't mean that he can't do it now. Also, you heard it before. I have an appointment with Long Fei. I want to confirm whether the saint is really immortal. Today Bindi left you, just don't want you to be the first fallen saint between heaven and earth. But if you stop me, I won't be able to guarantee what happened. Win slowly. But every sentence reveals an absolute. Absolutely overbearing. Absolutely invincible. Absolute ego. It seems that everything is in absolute control in the eyes of winning. The son-in-law became even more embarrassed at this time, as if with the threat of winning, he was directly in a dilemma. Oh, son-in-law, you should be fortunate that you have merit in the human race. In this case, the emperor is not afraid to tell you that today, no matter how long Long Fei can do, the emperor must sacrifice the flag of the saint. With determination in his mouth. Suddenly, the son-in-law's color changed, and he stayed directly on the spot. Even the figure of winning passed by his eyes, and entered into a place outside the sky, there was no response. By the time she responded, the figure of winning had disappeared. Damn, it looks like today, it's innocent. The son-in-law's voice trembled, and she expressed panic and fear. The next moment, her figure also disappeared and went straight into the heavens. At this time, in a place outside the sky, Long Fei's figure was extremely oppressed, and the whole person was scarlet, with a strong resistance to the will of the saint. Useless, give up struggling. 5 saints want you to die, can you live? There are people who have troubled the road since ancient times. Like you, let me wait to use the power of heaven to kill them, but this is the first one. Long Fei, even if you die, you are enough to be proud. Too good to say coldly. Their will was voluptuous and crushed down. At the moment, the opening was to break through Long Fei's heart, break Long Fei's psychological defense line, let Long Fei sink completely, and give up resistance. I'm dying of your ancestors. Right, heavenly saints, right? I swear, I will be sacrificed today. Long Fei said violently, looking at the system. There was only a progress bar in the last 30 seconds. With a ruthless heart, he directly called the coffin of eternal life. Boom boom. Suddenly, the power of eternal life swept over Long Fei's body again, and between his eyebrows, a weird pattern reappeared, and then turned into a swirling black hole, continually circling. Hey! No, there is a way to do this. This breath is very strong. The brother and his brother should shoot quickly, and he must not be allowed to perform. Yuanxia reacted instantly and said, "Okay, rest assured. Under the sword of heaven, he will die without doubt." Tong Tian's eyes condensed, his hands merged, and then he fell sharply. Boom! Boom boom! Wu Xian's 4 swords began to converge, and finally turned into a long sword, falling abruptly. "Do not! Long Fei, get out of here! Sword of Heaven, force marja!" The 3 emperors were flustered, and between the openings, they used their own power directly, and wanted to rush into it to resist Long Fei. It's a pity that their power is not enough in front of heaven. The power of gossip is just the moment when it takes shape, it is directly pierced between heaven and vanishes. Shen Yuan's sword broke into the sky and collided with Tian Dao. But in just one blow, he was directly bombarded. The world of Shennong Dingzhen rotates from top to bottom and wants to protect Long Fei. However, it was just that the stalemate was less than 3 breaths and was directly penetrated by the power of the Sword of Heaven. Everything, even if 3 people join forces, it is difficult to resist the slightest at this moment. Ground book. Zhen Yuanzi sighed, urged the ground book, rushed into the battlefield, and instantly swept the endless light of the earth, turning it into a shield to protect and hold Long Fei. Zhen Yuanzi, the power of the 3 emperors is not good, neither is your power. Today, this religion is going to kill Long Fei, no one of you can stop it. Tongtian's voice fell coldly. Really? The 5 saints shot and killed 1 person. Is this when the emperor is not there? With the emperor here, I will see how you kill today. In a critical moment, when the wind came to heaven, holding Tai A in his hand, he spoke arbitrarily. Chapter 4870. Chapter 4870. A sword comes out, endless evil spirit, endless killing intentions, and the sky is out. This is the sword of killing Dao, but also the sword of Emperor Dao. This sword, accompanied by winning a battle, is a symbol of Emperor Dao's invincible will, and he is the emperor. Long Fei's eyes were all condensed, watching the overbearing win, and his heart was relieved. The strength of others cannot bear the sword of heaven, but the win is different. When the winner wins the sword of heaven is isolated. Boom boom. Sword meaning crazy collision. The sword of heaven and earth wrapped up the suppression of the sky and the earth, crushed wildly. After all, this is the will of the 5 saints, and the degree of terror is self-evident. But the sword of Tai A was tough and unyielding, sending out thousands of swordsmanship in the winning hands. Emperors will manifested vividly. Win, help me fight for 30 breaths. After 30 breaths, I will be sacrificed. Long Fei said in a deep voice. He didn't know if the power of winning could endure the killing intentions of the 5 saints. However, at the time of 30 breaths, Long Fei believed that there was absolutely no problem. Win your eyes and look at Long Fei. Finally nodded heavily. He didn't know what else Long Fei had to do, and it wasn't clear where Long Fei's strength came from. After 30 breaths, he had to be sacrificed. However, since Long Fei said, he would not doubt it. Well, within 30 minutes, the widow guarantees you are invincible. Even if 5 saints make a shot, within 30 minutes, I am invincible. Winning his eyes closed, said Shen Shen. After receiving this response, Long Fei naturally no longer had any worries, adjusted with all his heart, and entered the countdown of waiting. At this time, with the winning hand, the heavenly saint has finally changed color. Win a sword, almost invincible, even the strength between the heavens and the earth to the deadly resistance in the air. Damn, he's stronger than 2,000 years ago. Not good, absolutely can't give Long Fei time. Somehow, I felt a horror in this seat. Of course, just after Long Fei finished speaking, Ben Sheng also felt a kind of throbbing that never existed in ancient times, as if the heavens were shaking. Taishang Yuanxia and Zhuandi opened their mouths. At this moment, they felt a threat that could bring them down from the holy place. This threat is extremely intuitive and stronger than the threat of winning. Suddenly, several people's faces were frozen instantly. Almost at the same time, several people agreed on their minds. That is, do your best to kill Long Fei. If, before, they were worried that using the power of heaven would lead to chaos in heaven, then now they have nothing to worry about. Don't worry about it anymore. Even if it is them, it is difficult to preserve them. The heaven and earth are exquisite pagodas. Come out. Tai Shong no longer stays. The innate magic weapon comes out. 7 treasure trees. Brush. Zhutian Qingyun. Town. 2 good people no longer do not stay. The innate magic weapon came out. Moreover, all other forces that motivate the heavens and the magic weapon of the saints. Supreme majesty and coercion erupt suddenly between heaven and earth. Dang the magic pestle! The guide also began to take action. All the forces came together at this moment, all condensed on Tongtianjian. Alas! The sword of Tare still blasted against the sword of heaven, the terrible breath swept the world, and the terror was extremely incomparable. The winning expression also became a bit heavy at this time. Are you trying hard? Or do you want to see if the widow has the power to be sacrificed? Win Lungmei said. The next moment, winning hands turned, a giant seal appeared in the hands. Godless, gather together, luck, move. Win loud voice. Boom boom. Rumble. Rumble. At this moment, the Earth Mansion dragon rose up and down, directly condensed behind the Win, roaring in anger, unruly the world, not sacred. And the winning body, at this moment, began to change. Below, Long Fei's eyes condensed. Dragon body? Lying down, winning is also one stop. Long Fei was extremely surprised. He thought about how powerful he was, but he didn't expect to have such a card. Even more horrible is that the dragon's breath that wins him is extremely powerful. Even in the ancient world, the strength of the 13 dragon ancestors of the year could not reach this level. It is Long Fei, who has become the master of the dragons in the ancient world, controls the ancestral dragon seal, and determines the fate of the dragons in the world. At this moment, I dare not say that I can win. In the legend, the first emperor was the reincarnation of Zulong, which was originally thought to be nonsense, but now it seems that it is true. Long Fei's heart was shaking. Long Fei has some understanding of the myth of the flood. At the beginning of the day, heaven and earth did not appear. Dragons, phoenixes, and unicorns are the masters of heaven and earth. But later, the competition between the 3 was the strongest, and the outbreak of the Longhan robberies led to the decline of the 3 clans and lost their dominance. If the Win is really the reincarnation of Zulong, then it has the strength of the war sage. Therefore, it is not difficult to explain such a violent past with such a glorious past. The power of Zulong? Impossible. How could you burst into the breath of Zulong? Below, the son-in-law was dumbfounded. She hasn't shot yet, but now she has lost her courage. Zulong? Impossible. There are Tiandao chains to suppress. How did you break free of Tiandao chains and escape from Kunlun? Yuan Shi Tianzuan was terrified. When he saw that the ancestor of Long Zhu was exposed to the Win, he was extremely panic-stricken. In that year, the first thing after they got the Dao was to suppress the 3 ethnic groups. Yuan Feng was destroyed, Kirin dissipated, and Zulong was suppressed in Kunlun. Nothing is impossible. The heavens are chained. When I cross, the Dao is natural and there is no heaven. Wanting to suppress me with heaven is nothing but self-deception. Win violently spoke, the world is unparalleled. In a word, the winning body was completely transformed into a half-dragon body at this time, dark red scales were surging along with his breath, and a violent atmosphere was also revealed. In the next moment, the winning body went upside down, directly resisting the saint's magic weapon with physical force. Bang bang bang! Every magic weapon Shuangguang fell on the winner, but the defense of the victory was almost invincible, and he took a few steps back without any substantial harm. This time, Win really showed his horror. And at this moment the faces of the saints became shameless. In the face of winning, for the first time showed weakness. Below, although Long Fei was shocked, he quickly suppressed it. Win is strong, but he is the person who has the system. Under the world, only others envy him. Time, minutes and seconds passed, and 30 breaths of time also turned by. Ding, congratulations to the players, the Pantheon building system is complete. Ding, congratulations to players to recast the Pantheon Tower, get system rewards, custom call once, and randomly call once. Note, the custom summon can be called the owner of the Pantheon building. It will be upgraded as the player practices. If the player dies, it will dissipate automatically. Summon at random, it is a one-time summon, which can drive the enemy out. The system sounds down. Long Fei, with a single thought, condenses the Pantheon directly above his head. Chapter 4871. Chapter 4871 Rumble. Rumble. Out of the Pantheon, the momentum was extremely shocking. At this moment, everyone's eyes were all concentrated on Long Fei's body. Rather, it is condensed on this tower of all gods. The treasure above the heavens? No, this is never possible. The saint was shocked. I feel that the power of the heavens has no control over this thing. Why is this so? Another saint spoke, urged the magic weapon in his hand, condensed into the 7 treasures, and washed away. However, this power has no effect, and the light has not been near the Pantheon building, but has been shielded directly by the divine light above the Pantheon. Even if I win at this moment, my eyes shrink. Good magic weapon. Win faintly opened his mouth and was relieved. 30 breath, just 30 breath time. Long Fei really had a whole card turned out, did not let him down. Just leave the battle to me. Today, I am going to be sacrificed. Long Fei said. The tone was bland. However, at this moment no one dares to doubt the authenticity of Long Fei's sentence. Good boy, that's ridiculous. I know that you absolutely have the means to overthrow this world. Below, Yingo looked at the Pantheon above his head, ignoring Long Fei, the saint of heaven, and his heart was agitated. For Long Fei, he was the only one who knew some clues. Therefore, we have high hopes for Long Fei. Even if he won, he could not reach this level in his mind. Well, live up to my life and fight today. Humanity is hopeful. Long Fei, it's best to keep myself, I'll say it later. The 3 emperors spoke in succession. At this moment, Long Fei can have this magic weapon. In their opinion, even the power of a saint is useless. Therefore, it is more than enough to want to protect itself. As for Long Fei's beheading, they didn't dare to imagine that it was only when Long Fei was the word of the moment. Thank you for the platform for Long Fei today. However, I have always spoken to Long Fei, saying that today, beheaded, we must beheaded. Long Fei's voice was indifferent. Unwavering. The saint's heart is not dead when he kills him, and every shot is made to death. Now that the Pantheon is out, do you still want Long Fei to stop? Impossible. Moreover, the mission of the world of mythology is now not short, and the birth of the saint is a sign that things have reached an irreversible stage. If he retreats, the saint will inevitably protect the heaven. If he misses this opportunity, many paths will have to be restarted. Therefore, at this moment, Long Fei didn't hesitate at all. He moved his heart and looked at Tongtian above his head. Tongtian, the holy of killing. Whatever you can do with heaven, you are not qualified for my life. And, what I said before is still valid. No matter who it is, an explanation must be given to win. Long Fei said in a deep voice. Long Fei, you are too arrogant. Although you do not know where this magic weapon came from, it is at most a defense treasure that can carry the power of heaven. But this does not mean that you have the power to kill saints. Tongtian said lightly. Defense. You think too much. In Laotzu's world, attack is the best defense. Today, start with you. Long Fei's gaze fixed, Shunsheng said. It's so domineering. Long Fei, are you sure you can do it? Win asked no problem. Long Fei's heart went straight and said directly. Now, it is the duel between the 2 worlds, Zulong. Even if he and Win are in the same camp, they don't want to lose to Win. Because, to some extent, He is now the ancestor of the ancient world. Is the ancestor of Wanlong. Now that Win has exposed the ancestral body of the dragon, in this case, Long Fei naturally cannot recognize it. Win can be against the sky, so he can fly, naturally. Okay, just let me see your ability, so that I can rest assured that the dragons are in your hands. Win said faintly. Long Fei nodded slightly. He understands the meaning of winning. To win in this world, he cultivates Emperor Dao. Although the power of Zulong can still erupt, to a great extent, there is not much conflict with the previous life. And now, the emergence of Long Fei just replaces the other party to lead the dragons to a peak. The next moment, Long Fei headed to the Pantheon, stepping towards the void step by step. Boom. Stepping forward, Long Fei's figure was directly imprinted in the eyes of everyone, and he was all shocked. Falling on them like Hong Zhong. No way, Long Fei at this moment is really too strong, bluntly beheaded, how could they not care cut? At this time, Tongtian's voice was also sinking. Without hesitation, the heavenly sword in his hand once again wrapped in supreme murderous power, shrouded down. Brush. When a sword fell, Wanzhong Jianman dived from the sky and forced the dragon to fly. Long Fei did not hesitate, and the demon's sword was cut backhand. Boom boom. For the second time, against the sky, the war again went to the night. But this time, it has no previous effect. During the roar of heroes, they were chopped directly into pieces, and even before approaching the sword of this heaven, they disappeared. Long Fei also felt a resolute shock. Without hesitation, he straightly stowed the sword. This sword is just an attitude to show his determination. As for the results, of course, he also expected. He had no hope that the sword would have any effect. After all, in the face of the heavenly power of one person, the power of the evil spirit sword is already difficult to fight, let alone now. However, Long Fei's real killing move has never been a magic sword. Now that the Pantheon has been recast, Long Fei naturally will not let the pearl dust. The next moment, Long Fei didn't hesitate to start the Pantheon directly. System, activate the right to summon, turn on the summon. The old asterisk of Long Fei is here, and his eyes look forward to it. Ding, congratulations to the player to activate the summoning authority, the launch was successful. Ding, this call, for the player summons the Lord of the vast starry sky, the demon of Fengtian, Meng Hao. The system sound drops. Long Fei's heart sank instantly. Not disappointment, but surprise. Incomparable surprise. Others don't know who the Lord of the starry sky is, but he knows it all. As a traversing person on the earth, the name of Fengtian Yaozhu is absolutely aloof. Another character in the novel world. Well, last time a cruel emperor, this time a Meng Hao, each of them was awesome. Unfortunately, I'm the protagonist. Long Fei lamented. The system is in hand, and I have it all in the world. That's the truth. This is beyond doubt, otherwise, the system would not be able to summon this invincible existence to serve itself. And also at this time, with the summoning of the Pantheon successfully. Above the Pantheon, stars were shining brightly, beginning to burst out between heaven and earth. And the saints of the heavens, at this moment, his face became extremely dignified. All eyes are also fixed on the Pantheon at this moment. I saw that at this moment in the Pantheon Tower, all the stars were scattered in the void, and then a figure gradually formed. Who calls Meng? The White Demon Master spoke faintly, his eyes were starry, and his eyes were broad. Chapter 4872. Chapter 4872. Above the void, this moment became eternal, and everyone's eyes were fixed on the sudden appearance of the White Demon Master. It's me. Long Fei stepped forward and said frankly. Since it is a system call, even if Meng Hao is the Zeon of heaven and earth, the Lord of Fengtian, the supremacy of that world, it is still under the control of the system. Therefore, Long Fei is now proudly facing Meng Hao. Meng Hao groaned slightly. Although it is very unpleasant to be summoned by me, it is very interesting. At least, you prove to me that my Tao is not the end of it. Therefore, this seat is satisfied once. No matter who is very serious, I can satisfy you. Meng Hao faintly said. At this moment, Long Fei had the feeling of getting a dog. I thought that Meng Hao was a system call, so he could obey his orders. Unexpectedly, this is another self-conscious existence. As for the system summoning, it is just calling the other party over. It is impossible for Meng Hao to obey his orders. Fortunately, Meng Hao did not feel angry, but instead seemed to be hunting for joy and found another way. Okay, my conditions are very simple. Isn't your lord the vast star? Then use your way to seal the sky and seal this side of the sky. Long Fei said. Now, the reason why the power of the saint becomes extremely powerful is the power of heaven. If the power of heaven is sealed, then the saint will not be terrible before him. Only then could he be sacrificed. Feng Tian. Okay. Meng Hao smiled slightly and turned his eyes to the heavenly saint. The gatekeeper under the heavenly path, repair is not bad. But in front of this seat, it is too weak. Meng Hao said lightly, move your hands, the pros and cons, ban. Meng Hao said casually. With the fall of his voice, with both hands, the front and back are constantly reversed, and the whole world outside has undergone a drastic change at this moment. All power and existence begin to repeat at this moment. The positive becomes the reverse, and the reverse becomes the positive. The upside down. How could it be? What kind of power is this? It's confusing the power of heaven. Where did this person come from? Not good, the power of the heavens is chaotic. The saint is shocked, and no one can remain calm at this moment. From Meng Hao, they felt a kind of unstoppable fear spreading in their hearts. Now it's just a trick that has disturbed their minds. In the distance, the three emperors were also intent. It's so shocking. Everything is incredible. They couldn't figure out what kind of way Long Fei actually used to call out such a powerful person directly. It was okay to win, and there were no major surprises. After all, he was also summoned by Long Fei at the beginning. So seeing this scene, my heart was relieved. It's too strong, the power to subvert the heavens between the backhands, Niobe. Wingo sighed. Even him, he had to serve. Meng Hao's method completely exceeded his imagination and exceeded his cognition. After all, the saint is the only one in this world. But now, Meng Hao has let the power of heaven give chaos. This person is very strong. Ying Yi said in a deep voice, his eyes were extremely dignified, apparently shocked by Meng Hao's methods. As for Long Fei, at the moment, he is also very confused. Meng Hao is too strong, a little bit messy, almost alone, suppressing heaven. At this time, the son-in-law couldn't keep silent anymore. The figure turned around and rose in the sky, standing in a row with the saint above the void. Extreme brother, this person is the same as Long Fei. He is an alien being, that is, the creatures outside the Tao. Tian Dao has no control over their lives, and he can only rely on me to urge them. Nua said, her expression was dignified. Everything in front of me has shown that it is impossible to reverse the war by relying on the will of the saints to bless the power of heaven guided by one person. Okay, heaven can jump, but aliens must be killed. People teach the monument, and the power of heaven is coming out. Tai Shong said silently, but for an instant, he chose to mobilize the power of heaven. Rumble. In an instant, the sky changed, and the infinite power of the heavens surged again, and once again formed a heavenly vortex above the void. Yuanxia explained the teaching monument, Qi. Yuanxia Tianzuan also yelled. Golden merit, get up. Picture of Shanhesh, get up. Kang Sheng's aspirations, get up. Next, a few sounds, the celestial vortex above the void was completely connected. Rumble. Rumble. The sky is roaring, and the endless power of heaven is bursting out at this moment, extremely terrifying. The three emperors and others were unable to curb the frown. In the face of this power, they had no choice but to sacrifice their magic weapon, but it was useless at all, and they retreated. Long Fei, we can't hold on under this kind of strength, and retreat first. Fu Shihuang said. This power is no longer what they can afford. If a saint has the power of heaven, they may be able to compete. But now, the 6 heavenly gods of Tiandao have no scruples, and they are struggling to chaos the heavens and mobilize the power of the 6 heavenly heavens. This kind of power is already terrifying. That is, now in a place outside the sky, if in the world of mythology, I am afraid that the entire world will fall into disaster. Well, trouble the three emperors to take good care of the winning hook, here I am. Long Fei said in a deep voice. This kind of power, even if he felt an inexplicable pressure, if not Meng Hao was ahead, the Pantheon Tower carried coercion, fearing that he would only choose to retreat. By the way, win the hook. You are waiting below. I said that giving you an account today will naturally cost them. Long Fei said. Win hooked the focus, then flashed with the figure of the three emperors and disappeared out of the sky. In a blink of an eye, the whole world is left with only Long Fei, Win, and Meng Hao. Winning face remains unchanged, holding too much hands, sinking directly in front of him. The power of heaven is directly isolated. Even if it is the power of the six holy heavens, it is difficult to hurt him. At this moment, the corner of Meng Hao's mouth was a slight smile. That's a little interesting. I cultivate my own cause and effect, I forbid 3 movements, and I respect him. Meng Hao spoke again, and 3 of the 3 supreme methods were performed. Suddenly, the surging force of the heavenly path stopped at this instant, as if framed, and a turbulent skyward vortex no longer worked, as if frozen. It's impossible. Heaven is supreme, and there can't be any force to counter it. People teach monument, collapse for me. Tai Shong voice indifferent. He is the head of the 6 saints. If the Tao is provoked today, the power of the heavens of the 6 cannot be carried, which is a deadly threat to him. Therefore, the current Tai Shong is almost desperate, and even the humane monument has begun to crack, and it is necessary to break free of Meng Hao's control. At this time, Meng Hao shook her head slightly. The gatekeepers under the heavens are just that. This battle is like this. The 10 forbiddens are united, and the thought is close. Meng Hao's voice was cold and charming, and she said silently. Chapter 4873. Chapter 4873. Meng Hao spoke with arrogance. It seems that at this moment the power of the heavenly saint is struggling in vain before him and has no effect at all. Therefore, at this moment, he is no longer ready to continue wasting time. Between the hands, the strongest law is forbidden to be cast, and the sky is closed. Rumble. In one breath, the whole sky changed drastically with the words of Meng Hao. Terrible. The endless power of the heavens is like a puppet in the middle of it, and it is imprisoned in the hands of Meng Hao. Not only these, but even the invincible magic weapon of the heavenly saints, at this moment in front of the Xeon's prohibition, have lost their original deity. No, how could this happen? The heavens are so strange that they can suppress them. This is impossible. No, this sun wants to imprison us and let Long Fei kill us. It's ruthless. I can't wait any longer, please master. For a moment, exclaimed words came from the mouths of the saints. At this moment, they were really scared. The strength of the 6 people couldn't bear to notice that Meng Hao was banned, and even the power of heaven was banned, like nothing. This kind of thing is unprecedented. Of course, if it is only banned, they will not be so unrealistic. More importantly, after Meng Hao, Long Fei had already given them a killing heart. At this moment, they did not hesitate, they started to move directly, they wanted to awaken their teacher, Tiandao Hongjun. Boy, what are you waiting for? I can feel that a super strong being is waking up and I have not much power left. I want to make a shot, now is the time. Meng Hao began to remind. Long Fei suddenly woke up. Are Tiandao Hongjun coming out? But it's useless. I can't stop anyone Long Fei is going to kill. The sound of Long Fei was frosty, and when he thought about it, the sword of demons once again controlled his hands. It's against the sky, burst. Without hesitation, Long Fei directly used all the remaining killing intentions in the current demon sword. After all, this time, he was going to be sacrificed. Extraordinary. A sword waved, countless practitioners in the world of Tongxian fell, and the killing intention broke out. This time, it can be said that it is several times more powerful than the previous outbreak. After all, this time Long Fei no longer cares how many times it can be used, but all of them are displayed in one go. Brush. A sword condenses into the sky, crosses directly between the heavens, crosses the heavens whirlpool, and leads straight. Compared to Tong Tien and others, Long Fei's heart is more sacred towards the West. After all, he stood up for the human race. The Western two saints, however, used Zhangsheng as the source of belief, relying on her ambition to capture the heart of Zhangsheng. It's heartbreaking. It is precisely because of this that at this moment Long Fei's sword pointed at the Western saint. No. Then his face changed, and his eyes were horrified. At this moment, the power of heaven is restrained, and even his magic weapon is restrained. Even if he can still resist, but under the sword of this maggot, his resistance is too pale and weak. It is not that he is weak, but the sword Long Fei is too strong. The meaning of endless skyward accumulation that has been accumulated for thousands of years, if it can be easily broken, Tong Tien would not have used the sword of heaven. Shot, dare. Long Fei, you are bold. Presumptuous, Long Fei, if you dare to kill the holy, under heaven, you will be destroyed. Several saints opened their mouths, their eyes were incredible. How could they never have imagined that coming today would be such a result? Not even thinking that Long Fei really had the courage to dare to slay the knife to the saint. Now threatening again? Innocence. Heavenly saints, you sacrifice saints, walk on behalf of the sky, and control the lifestyle of Kang. As everyone knows, there are many people who want to kill heaven. The life of a cultivator, obedience to sin, I am Long Fei today, and I will be the first person to kill the saint. Let this world know that the heart of my Long Fei is heaven, and I can't stop it. He opened his mouth without any hesitation. For a moment, he dropped the sword of demons on the top of his head. Alas! The falling of a sword, the infinite anti-sky intention, turned into a sharp blade, and the shadows of numerous practitioners dissipated, merged into the Slayer sword, became the spike of Tu Sheng, and fell before the lead. No, merit Golden Lotus, block. Then the figure exploded, and wanted to mobilize the merit Jianlian to resist Long Fei. However, now that he has used the merit Jianlian to mobilize heaven, he has been banned by Meng Hao. Even if it is his calling, he is indifferent. Puff. Finally, the sword fell, and the straight eyebrows were broken. Heavenly Saint, fall. And at this time, the power of the banned heaven suddenly became violent as the lead fell. Boom boom. In a flash, the remaining 5 saints returned directly to the free body. Brother. Okay, Big Dog Gaul, Long Fei, you're dead. You dare to kill Sheng, even Daozu has been alarmed. Today, not only you, but also this heavenly alien, will die here. The first class said, angry. From the day of sanctification, the heavenly saints have never been in danger of life and death. It is unexpected that they have been beheaded by Long Fei at the same time. This makes them more angry and more murderous. Because Long Fei can kill a saint, naturally there is a way to force them into the Jedi. However, Long Fei didn't even notice it. What about the saint? From the moment he entered this mythological world, all this was doomed. However, today it was staged ahead of schedule. Killing one is also killing, killing two is also killing. Demon Lord, can you ban the heavens again? I will kill one more. Long Fei said, understatement. As if, the heavenly saint, in his eyes, has been able to be killed casually. No. You killed one of them, you have already attracted Fang Tiandao's attention. I have sensed that a terror force will come. Meng Hao said lightly. Long Fei froze and looked at Meng Hao incredible. He did not expect that Meng Hao refused so simply. Dark Master? Are you kidding me? But you, the Lord of Heaven, how can you admit it so easily? Long Fei was helpless. There is nothing to persuade, it can't just be impossible. However, I can still make a shot once. It's just wasted on these people. When that one comes, I will take a shot and fight with it. Looking at the vast void, an invincible trend breeding on him. As if under this square starry sky, he is still the master. It was also at this time, above the void, that the power of the heavens was beginning to come. The heavenly path is strange, but dare to cut the saints of the heavenly path. Today, this path will cut both of you to correct the path of heaven. A voice fell, full of thunder. Long Fei was roaring in his heart. If it wasn't for the top of the pantheon at this moment, I was afraid that it would only hurt him with just one sentence. The ancestor of heaven, Daozu Hongjun? Good strong. Long Fei's eyes narrowed, thinking in his mind. Chapter 4874. Chapter 4874. Suddenly, the saints bowed their heads. Master, Daozu. Master, this son is going against the heavens and beheading the saint. He must not be released. The saint said, his words were full of grief. I know this. Rest assured, disciples in this Tao are not so easy to die. Above Tsangming, a deep voice appeared. Words and expressions follow, the world and the world respect. Even more horrible is that a word from this person actually made Long Fei feel a sense of disorder. The next moment, a more terrifying scene took place. Long Fei found that time was reversing, and what had happened was returning at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. Above the emptiness, the dead connection began to reshape the body. Impossible. Long Fei was shocked. This power is incredible. He knows that there are many powerful people in the world who have the ability to turn back time. However, this has already happened. After all, if you can use the power of supernatural power to regenerate and resurrect, then your own task is a mess. You have to know that it is the power of the system that you use to kill yourself. If Hongjun can contain even the power of the system, and it can lead to rebirth through the power of heaven, does this not mean that even the power of the system cannot help Hongjun? This result is too horrible, and has gone beyond the resurrection itself. Master, don't worry, he can't be resurrected. Although he is extremely powerful, there is still a little gap compared to the supreme plane. This person was killed by your system power. He cannot be resurrected. At this time, the system girl said. Really? Long Fei felt relieved. If so, it's okay. Otherwise, you simply don't need to continue your mission and declare bankruptcy directly. Wait to see the master. He just shot himself in the foot and will know how ignorant he is. The system girl said dismissively. As soon as this remark came out, Long Fei truly relaxed. And above the void, Meng Hao looked at everything happening indifferently. Of course, the most excited person at this time is the heavenly saint. Seeing Hongjun's shot, they were all open to rebirth. After all, Tiandao Hongjun can revive the lead, which means that they will not have a deadly threat in the future, and they don't need to worry about the fear of death, they are still immortal. I don't know what it means. Seeing that, when Daozu shot it, everything before you was useless. In front of Tiandao, dare to fight fiercely, until the revival of the master is the death of the three of you. No matter who you are, all those who rebel against the heavens will kill without pardon. The saints said one after another. But the words did not fall, but Meng Hao's voice directly suppressed their ridicule. You take it for granted. Although the strength of heaven is strong, not all kinds of injuries can be reversed. After a while you will know that it is you who are truly ignorant. Meng Hao said softly, glanced at Long Fei a little thoughtfully, and said lightly, Boy, I'll take a shot later to expel heaven for you, and the rest is up to you. I have a hunch that one day we will meet again. Don't let me down then. Meng Hao said. The whole body suddenly got together, and the endless demon anger was on its body. This horrible horror, the impact of heaven, almost formed a situation of court resistance with Daozu Hongjun. The first demon in the vast sky, it really lives up to this name. Long Fei felt with emotion. And at this moment, an incredible scene happened. I saw that the original rebirth had been reversed, and Shengsheng stopped on the spot, without even condensing the flesh, and then banged and broke completely. More thorough than before. At this moment, the world was shocked. But both Long Fei and Meng Hao were calm. This scene, they had anticipated. Win's expression was relieved, and his eyes were full of light. All over the world, in addition to him, someone finally has the power to kill the saint. Long Fei, you are doing well. You have proven that saints are not immortal. Win calmly spoke, burning in his eyes. Yes, saints are not immortal. Unfortunately, now that Hongjun is here, there is no way to cut another one. Long Fei had some regrets. He could feel that with the emergence of Hongjun, the power of heaven in the saint became more mysterious. Simply put, before they were in the heavens, they could mobilize the power of the heavens. So now, it is to call in the power of heaven. This difference has cut off the possibility that Long Fei wants to cut another saint. However, Long Fei is now satisfied. But he killed a holy man. This is already the biggest gain in World War I anyway. Before the decisive battle, saints may not be as scary as you think. The real existence of terror has never appeared. Ying faintly said, on the one hand, to wake up Long Fei, for fear that Long Fei will drift away because of the battle sacred. Long Fei pouted his lips, and he naturally understood when he won. He wanted to speak in response, but was interrupted by a rage above the void. Hateful, even the soul of the Tao of heaven was annihilated, and the possibility of resurrection of this Tao was cut off. Hongjun. Hongjun was furious and just boasted about haiku. His disciples were not so easy to die. In a blink of an eye, he can be directly beaten. His methods simply couldn't make him reborn, and even the physical body now completely collapses, completely cutting off the possibility. As soon as this word was spoken, the saints who had been integrated into the heavenly path all showed a sadness. The fellow initiates have been there for tens of thousands of years, but now they say they are gone. Damn. Master, you must not let them go, otherwise my heaven will inevitably collapse. Yes, Daozu, they have messed up the heavens and slaughtered the saints. If they didn't die, the world would be chaotic. Daozu, you must not let them go. The saints began to speak. At this moment, they were really scared. Long Fei already has the ability to kill the saints. To them, it is tantamount to hanging a knife above their heads. Maybe they will be cut off at any time. If Long Fei isn't dead, they will be dead by then. Those who are in disorder, this way will never be forgiven. Now that the lead is dead, the speed will wait for Zixiao Palace to complete its control. As for this, leave it to Bendao. Hongjun's voice fell. Infinite killings also erupted instantly. The next moment, a Taoist figure slowly gathered from the endless hearing. Meng Hao's pupils shrank, and she took a step forward. Boy, let's step back. This battle, I will come. Meng Hao's eyes were surging. He killed many invincible beings, cleared the heavens and closed the heavens and earth, but never fought against heaven. Now that there is exactly this opportunity, how can I let it go? The ultimate ban, Fengtian, Meng Hao said with a deep voice, then stepped forward and went straight to Hongjun's body. Chapter 4875. Chapter 4875. Visible to the naked eye, the two figures were intertwined instantly. In the surging strength of heaven, a scarlet horror crisscrossed up and down. Immediately afterwards, two breaths, wrapped in two figures, directly and continuously collided. Open and close, and finally merge again. At this moment, Long Fei just felt that the whole world was shaking, as if the whole void was about to collapse. Fortunately, this is a place outside the sky. If in the world of mythology, what heaven, what spirit mountain, what three realms, this level of fighting, I am afraid that they have passed by, and they will turn into scorched earth. Long Fei sighed. This kind of power, any one of which was leaked out, Long Fei felt able to collapse a star. It was like the destruction of one realm in the world. But after all, the skills that I used myself. Now, they are just the aftermath of battle, and they can have this effect. It can be seen how powerful the battle between them is at this time. But also at this time, the fighting between the two men went further and further, even directly breaking out of the sky and disappearing. Boom! Suddenly, the breath of heaven and earth shook, and all the power of heaven and earth disappeared. But now
Even
after
the
a word
traces
of winning,
of several
it is
heavenly
the veto
saints
of Long Fei's
disappeared.
guess. Long Fei
Congenital.
took a long
You
soothing
are not
sip.
Hongjun.
This
Long
battle
Fei
has
frowned.
finally come to an
If
end.
it is Hongjun,
As for the
what they
outcome
have
of
to
the
deal
battle,
with is just
it is
6
unknown.
heavenly saints.
However,
Today,
it is certain
however,
that Meng
Wen
Hao,
says
as
that
the
what he
vast
has to
master,
deal with is
has
the
absolute
existence of
strength,
countless
even if he is only
inferior
summoned
saints.
by himself at
Who
this
told
moment.
you I was
Even
dealing
if
with
he can't
Hongjun?
defeat Qian
If
Dao
so,
Hongjun,
2,000
he can
years
be
ago,
seriously
I
injured.
could destroy the
It
heavenly
seems that
path
I
and
still
force
need
the
to
saint to
improve
die,
as soon as
and
possible,
I would be able to
and now the
suppress the
strength is
heavenly
not
path.
enough.
Wen
Long
said
Fei looked
faintly.
at the winner
Then
side
what's
and
your
said
end?
lightly,
Exactly.
Yes, Although
Long
you are
Fei
not
asked,
weak now,
with a little
this battle
shock in
is
his
just the
tone.
beginning.
So shocked.
You need to go further.
Have to say,
Win looked at
completely
Long Fei and
subverted
Long
Long
Fei's
Long
cognition.
Fei nodded,
That exists.
thinking deeply.
Needless to say,
After all,
I think
I
you
have
know it
Meng
too.
Hao this time
He
and
is
can
Pangu.
summon the Lord of the Vast.
Win said faintly.
But next time I do
Pangu.
NT have this
A
opportunity.
great asterisk
However,
asterisk
just when Long Fei thought he was winning, he only encouraged
Long Fei
him,
was
and
startled.
suddenly he said,
The
Long
eyes looked
Fei,
toward
if I
winning.
tell you,
All are
when I make
incredible.
waves in the heavens
It's
and
just
the
that
earth,
the world
when the
has
heavens
myth.
and the demons,
Take a step
every one
back
of them
and
is
say
not
that the
inferior.
one at the beginning was
Strength.
indeed a
How
portrait
about
of heaven
you?
and earth.
At this moment,
At the time,
Win
I was
suddenly
still in
said,
chaos,
and
Long
I also
Fei
felt
was
that this was a
startled.
god,
Does
standing
everyone
between
have
heaven
the
and
power
earth,
of
the
inferior
only god.
saints?
However,
Long Fei
when
was
Yuan Feng
completely
and
stunned.
Kirin and I battled
Is
the
NT
world,
the heavenly
I felt
saint
faintly.
the strongest in
I'm
this
wrong.
mythical world?
He is not God.
Is there still
It's
a
a
sage
person
and
in
a
a horrible
group?
existence.
But he opened up
for
this
a long
side of
time,
the world and
what
became
Long
the
Fei
asterisk
thought he had to
asterisk
deal with was
asterisk
Hong
asterisk
Jun.
of this side of
Just
the world.
like the original
Win
sentence,
said,
Hong
the
Jun
tongue
became
comes
more and
first,
more
and then there
fierce.
is heaven.
Even,
Therefore,
with a little heavy.
the avatar who won at the beginning
ethnic,
told Long Fei
Pangu
that what he had to
family,
deal with was
Long
innate.
Fei exclaimed.
Long Fei instinctively
It is no wonder
thought
that
that
it is
what he had to
necessary
deal
to
with
face
was
the
Hong
existence
Jun,
of a group of inferior saints, who originally thought that winning was an exaggeration, but now it seems not an exaggeration at all, but rather conservative. You can say the same. I don't know what race they are, but I can feel that they are coming soon. Win said. Then Hong Jun didn't want to face it? Long Fei asked. I disagree with him. He is too conservative. He has led to epoch times and blessings of heaven. He uses the power of heaven to resist those invasions. However, it is useless, those beings will still enter. Luo Lu was one of them. Although he was expelled from the heaven by Hong Jun, it was a pity that he was not beheaded and everything was futile. Win said. Long Fei was silent. At the next moment, Long Fei sank into his heart, sinking into the system. Sister of the system, can the Pantheon Tower be able to condense people and spirits as before? Long Fei asked. Of course you can, Master. Now the Pantheon Tower is the same as before, except for one less landlord, there is no big difference. The only possibility is that the speed of cohesion has increased a lot, said the system girl. Okay, I get it. Long Fei nodded faintly, and then moved his hands, and the light of the Pantheon Tower flashed, brushing between the heavens and the earth, and returned to Long Fei. Of course, at this moment, the saint has retreated, and the battle between Hong Jun and Meng Hao also used all the power, which did not create any coercion on him. Win, the next time, I need to reconsider the pattern. But Heaven and Ling Shan, I have to get. Long Fei insisted. This has something to do with his task, and he naturally cannot give up. Whatever. I have said long ago, between this world, I have no desire, even I can help you. Win said faintly. Can. The Wu tribe and the demon tribe will be entrusted to you. The Wu tribe and I have the old one, and then they will keep their heritage. As for the demons, you take care of it. Long Fei said. If he wins, he will be under great pressure to let him know that although he has broken through the realm of transcendence, he can face the next danger, which is beyond mention. It's not just him, the entire Long Ting is now too weak. Therefore, Long Fei's next move is to rectify the Dragon Court, so that the people in the Dragon Court can make a sea change. At least, let them not be useless in the next battle. Chapter 4876. Chapter 4876. Above the Dragon Court, a sea of blood flows. The asterisk of a million heavens fell here, the repair of a million spirit hills, no dead body, millions of demon clan, as many as vaults. This battle can be said to be more brutal than the First World War. Millions of souls fell in one day. And Long Ting completely became bloodstained. 3 million blood, demon blood, and Buddha blood converge into the sea, and fall into the vast world, forming a landscape above the Dragon Court. But the scenery is and brutal. 1 million Qin soldiers directly destroyed nearly 3 million of the 3 clans. This battle is truly remarkable. The normal war, however, lasted only a few hours. Of course, the demon monsters of the clan did not take action, not because they didn't want to, but because they couldn't. Earlier, they won here, they did not dare to shoot at all, for fear of winning one shot,
they would all be destroyed. After finally waiting for the victory to leave, the three emperors and Genuanzi appeared, and they were directly suppressed. Yang Lao Qin, it really is great. Long Fei has just returned from a place outside the sky, seeing this scene, cannot help but admire. Qin Bing is really strong, so we can see how much hard work Win has done for this day. Not enough. Except for Bai Qi, Li Mu and others, they are high-end combat power, but the rest are worse. But now that I have the full luck of the land government, the next step I will use the fierce air of the land government to temper them. At least, they must become inferior semi-holy existence, and the next battle will be possible. Win calmly said. As everyone knows, the impact of this sentence on Long Fei. The moment before, he just thought about how to improve the strength of Long Ting's people. However, he did not expect that his ambition to win would be even greater. He even wanted to be a master of the world. Yeah, after today's war, I believe that whether it is Qianting or Lingshan, they will share a period of time, just use this time to enhance their strength. Long Fei said. Of course, what he wants to improve is Long Ting's overall strength and how to deal with the race in his mouth. As for his task, naturally he will not relax. At this time, with the advent of Long Fei and Win, the advent of heaven, the Bodhisattva of Lingshan, and the demon **** of the demon race, at this moment, there is no reservation, and no one dares to stay for a while. And Long Fei didn't bother to care. After all, Qianting and Lingshan are still there, and it is useless to kill them. When they hit Lingshan and overthrow them, they will naturally escape. Today you have solved Long Ting, and I will return to the prefecture for military training. Also, be sure to go further. Win said heavily, after speaking, turned around and went forward step by step. With each step, his figure gradually sinks to the ground. Behind him, 1,000,000 Qin Bing, led by Bai Qi, also followed his footsteps and slowly disappeared. For a time, the whole dragon court returned to silence. However, the body of the mountain, the endless sea of blood, has shown that a terrible world war broke out here. The next moment, Long Fei's eyes circled, looking at the endless blood, dyeing the dragon court, his heart moved slightly. 3 emperors, win the hook. For the time being, you will enter the dragon court and treat me with the supreme method, refining the blood of the Qianting demon clan and Lingshan as the banner, and letting the dragon court flourish. Long Fei said lightly. The 3 emperors did not speak, and their expressions were dignified. Boy, don't go too far, people die, lights are dead, death is dead, why continue to use their blood to make a fuss? Wingo persuaded. Some things you don't understand. Long Fei said lightly. Naturally, he didn't just want to be a banner. I want to reshape them with the Pantheon. After all, the enemies to face next are too powerful, and Long Fei must concentrate all available power, but these people's cultivation is too weak, even if they are reborn, it is useless. Therefore, what Long Fei thought at this moment was to use their **** blood, Buddha blood, and demon blood to condense the 3 mansions of the Pantheon. Winning a moment, I realized that this should be related to Long Fei's unique ability. Well, now that you have a plan, do what you want. 3 emperors, let's go, just look at how this dragon caught. Win tick. There was a guise of winning, and the 3 emperors and Jin Yuan also stopped talking and went directly to Long Ting with the win. At this time, Tu Shan Xiaorong had been ready for a long time, fully playing the role of Long Ting's steward and entering. When the crowd disappeared, Long Fei's eyes gradually sank. Then I thought, Xianmen luck, get up. With an order, Long Fei directly mobilized Xianmen's luck and blinded the entire void. In this way, any realm in the heavens and the earth can no longer know what he is going to do. Sister system, I think it's feasible to condense the 3 Xeon existences using the flesh, mana, and blood falling from the 3 forces, respectively? Long Fei asked. Open your door. This is what he thinks. Because if he is going to face it in the future, it is really as scary as Win said. So now, some means must be deployed. According to the current attributes of the Pantheon Tower, it should be completely feasible, and the owner can try it. Said the system girl. Long Fei took a deep breath and was ready to start the Pantheon. But at this moment, a long-lost voice appeared in his mind. Ding, congratulations to the player, Long Fei, for beheading and killing the heavenly saints. Ding, lead is a superclass boss. It rewards players with 1000 points of experience, 100 points of immortality, and 1 point of invincibility. Ding, congratulations to the player for 12 merit Golden Lotus. Congenital treasure, fusion Red Lotus, Black Lotus, can grow into an eternal life magic weapon. Ding, congratulations to players for their great luck and great luck. Ding, congratulations to the player for being introduced to the Sacred Tower, the Saint's magic weapon, which contains the supreme power of the gods, and has inherent restraint against demons. The sound of the system is faster than the wave. And Long Fei's expression was staggered on the spot. Before that, he was still wondering why the system would not respond in the slightest. I didn't expect to start prompting at this time. Long Fei sinks his mind, looks at the rewards, and finds that except for the value changes such as experience points, the other rewards are basically grey, as if it is a state that cannot be used. Long Fei froze and quickly asked, "System, what's going on? Why can't I use these rewards at all?" Long Fei was puzzled. Ding, the system noticed the player's willingness to reinstate the Pantheon. If the player needs remodeling, the rewards other than the experience attributes will be halved and used for the character after remodeling. I ask players if they choose to continue reinventing leads. The system sound drops. Suddenly, Long Fei felt like a dog in his heart. "My Nima, do you want to play like this? This is to kill you." Long Fei was angry and helpless. Chapter 4877. Chapter 4877. It can be said that this is a difficult problem. For a while, even Long Fei didn't know how to choose. Reinventing the connection has to pay such a big price. Merit Golden Lotus? Leading to God's Tower? With that said, one must be lost. Long Fei groaned in his heart. If it was the time of everything else, Long Fei wouldn't even think about it, and would definitely choose to give up remodeling. But not now, because the aftereffect of what Win said is too serious. Even if there is a system, he is not sure to reach that level in a short time. After all, he had no idea when the people of that race would arrive. The sage, no doubt, has reached that level. Forget it. Even this kind of treasure is not enough compared with the blade of the king of the world. Long Fei thought in his mind that the most urgent task at present is to improve himself and the overall heritage. Although these magic weapons are not weak, they are far worse than the methods he controls now. With that in mind, Long Fei made a direct decision: reinvent. Simple 2 words. In the next moment, among the rewards for beheading and slaying, the sacred building completely disappeared and turned black. But within the Pantheon Tower, the figure that followed was slowly condensed, and finally appeared completely. Immediately afterwards, she walked out of the Pantheon building, looked at the endless blood in front of her, and looked at Long Fei. At this time, the respect on his face was drawn, and only Long Fei surrendered. He still retains his previous memories, but only has a layer of yoke, which is his absolute loyalty to Long Fei. More importantly, he knew the horror of Pantheon, and only worshipped Long Fei. This means, let alone their heavenly saints, even heavenly gods, cannot do it. "Well, you first enter the Pantheon to rest and recover your strength," Long Fei said. At this time, he could feel that although the lead was reshaped, its strength was lower than before, but it is understandable. After all, it is now being reshaped and it will naturally lose some money. "Take the lead," then said solemnly. After the acclaimed figure returned to the Pantheon Tower, Long Fei's consciousness sank into it, only to discover that the entire Pantheon Tower had begun to be divided into 9 floors. The lead-in was only on the 7th floor. "System sister, what's going on?" Long Fei asked. "Master, this is a change that I made when I remodeled the Pantheon Tower. Before, the Pantheon Tower was too irregular. Now when I reorganize, I will stratify according to their strength. As the master saw, the strength of the lead is the heavenly saint, and he can already be ranked on the 7th floor. The system girl explained. But Long Fei was a little shocked. The cultivation of the heavenly saints is the 7th floor. What about the 8th floor? What about the 9th floor?
Long Fei couldn't imagine it. If according to the sister of the system, then the 8th layer is afraid that it has reached the level of winning and Tiandao Hongjun. Master, the cultivation of the 8th floor has basically reached its peak. If divided according to cultivation, at least it should be beyond the peak or the state of life. Said the system girl. Just like the Win you have encountered before, and the ancestors of heaven and earth, they are all masters in the realm of life. The system girl continued. Okay. Are they the realm of destiny? Long Fei froze. Suddenly I felt a stagger. What surprised him most was that the Win had reached that level, and no wonder he had such confidence. If so, what is the 9th floor? Long Fei asked. If the 8th floor is already the pinnacle of cultivation, what is the significance of the existence of the 9th floor? The 9th floor is naturally to be prepared for the owner of the Pantheon building. The system girl said, with a little expectation in her eyes. The landlord? Yes, when she called in a hurry, she only shot once and then completely dissipated. I said at the time that I would definitely see you again, and now is the time. Long Fei thought, starting the summoning reward of the Pantheon directly. Designated summoning, the cruelest emperor in the world. Alas! Suddenly, with the operation of the system power, a layer of puppets was directly laid on the 9th floor of the Pantheon building. Brush. I disappeared, and a figure gradually appeared. However, what made Long Fei somewhat surprised was that he was not a fierce emperor in his memory, but a little girl. The little girl held a mask in her hands and cried and laughed. I'm going, system girl, is there anything wrong with this? This is a ruthless emperor. Long Fei froze, feeling inexplicable in his heart. Yeah, but as I said before, this time the summoning can be continuously improved along with the master's practice. According to the master's current practice speed, she was in the Pantheon building, absorbing the support of the Pantheon, and it would not be long before she could reach the level of transcendence. Then the speed will slow down. Said the system girl. Then what is the fierce emperor? Long Fei asked again. This is not the point of the question. The point is that this is the last time Emperor walked on the earth. The system will print the experience and power of previous generations, and when it grows up, it will not wake up because it is too powerful, can cause the balance of the world to be shaken passively, and in this way, the cruel emperor can really stay in the Pantheon building. Said the system girl. Long Fei nodded, the system girl said so, Long Fei understood. Every world has its own trajectory. The operation of the system is also unlikely to affect the operation of other worlds. With this in mind, Long Fei took a step forward and said lightly, from now on, you are the owner of the Pantheon building. You first practice well here, and when you awaken your strength, you are the emperor, within the heavens, the cruelest emperor. Long Fei said. I'm the Pantheon landlord. I am the cruelest emperor in the heavens. Okay, I remember. The little girl said lightly. Long Fei's eyes were easygoing, nodded slightly, and then linked the system. The system recasts the immortal, the Buddha, the demon, the blood of 1,000,000 souls with the Pantheon, condensing the strongest body. Long Fei said. After speaking, he looked at the Pantheon silently, waiting for the reaction from the Pantheon. Sure enough, just as Long Fei's voice fell, the entire Pantheon building became frantic, but after a moment it fell silent again. Ding! Congratulations to the player for triggering the system task. Task 1. Create immortals, Buddhas, demon. Task time, 1 day. Mission level, S level. Mission rewards, 500 activation volumes. Mission punishment, none. Note, after the mission is completed, the next mission will be unlocked automatically. The system's voice fell, then fell silent. But Long Fei was bright. 500 activation volumes? Ha ha ha, the Legion system, the Legion store, is finally about to open. Chapter 4879. Chapter 4879 Ding. Congratulations to players for completing system tasks and creating gods, monsters, and Buddhas. Ding. Congratulations to the players for getting rewards and 500 activation volumes. The system sound dropped and it was clean. A joy in Long Fei's heart, He clearly remembered that when activating the Legion store, as long as 5 activation rolls, now one-off reward of 500, can't one step be in place? As soon as he thought about it, Long Fei sank into the system, watching the flashing activation volume, and his heart moved. System, activate the Legion store. Ding! Congratulations to players activating the Legion store. A flash of light flashed. In the Legion system, the function of the Legion store was finally activated, and it was no longer in an unerasable state. But when Long Fei enters one of them with full of interest, he suddenly develops a feeling of being ridiculous. Grey. Grey. Still grey. Everything, including weapons and equipment, skills, etc., is all grey. It is completely unusable. And the numbers above the corners are even more dazzling as Long Fei looks at him, and his heart is as cold as water. Palating, this is playing with me. Long Fei heard a resentment. Yes, the Legion store is activated, but everything in it needs to be activated again. In other words, the current 500 activation volumes are not enough to see, let alone all of them can be done at once, and even half of them cannot be activated. Ding! It is detected that the player still has an activation volume. May I ask if it is activated? Activation. Long Fei's voice was silent, and the hatred's teeth were itchy. However, such a choice has to be made. Only by activating it can the functions of the Legion system be activated, and the talents in his Legion can be greatly improved. Swipe. A series of lights flashed, one by one in the Legion system was activated, but the 500 activation volumes also quickly bottomed out. Long Fei's gaze sighed as he looked at the flashing weapons in the Legion system. Finally activated. But when Long Fei took it out tentatively, he found that there was no way to control it. Ding! The current status of Legion treasures is stateless. Players need to buy Legion coins to access them. System sounds suddenly appear. Sync. Long Fei had 1,000 words in her heart, and gathered into a sentence, and vowed to come to the Supreme Plane to hang the developers of the system. Master, don't get angry, I think the system has evolved so definitely. Maybe the next mission will burst out Legion coins. The system girl quickly comforted. Hope so. Long Fei said lightly. Now, Long Fei is completely silent about the system. It can be said that this time, the greater the surprise to yourself, the greater the disappointment. But there is nothing he can do about the system. As soon as he thought about it, Long Fei could only suppress the depression in his heart, looking at the 3 people in front of him and saying, "You have gathered a fine blood, each portrays a temperament for me, and then enter the pantheon to cultivate." Long Fei said lightly. The 3 didn't dare to hesitate. As soon as Long Fei's voice fell, he split his palm, and blood fell from his palm. Swipe. In just a moment, the 3 blood types fused together. Long Fei waved his hand at this moment, and a wave of power swept past, directly portraying this blood into a banner. This flag, as red as blood, was rippling with the breath of immortals, Buddhas, and demons, and was extremely shocking. Just the breath has surpassed the ordinary innate Lingbao, comparable to the treasure. Long Fei froze with a smile in his heart. This point, it makes Long Fei a little surprised. Interesting, originally I just wanted to gather a flag and give the 3 emperors and others a story. I did not expect to accidentally create a treasure. Long Fei felt with emotion. If you want to plant flowers, you will not bloom. That's it. For a moment, Long Fei no longer hesitated, with a wave of his hands, withdrew Xianmen Qi directly, and then reappeared between heaven and earth. Come out, Long Fei is fine. But what's behind him? Congenital treasure? No, it's not congenital treasure. It should be made by Long Fei, but the breath is so strong that it is comparable to congenital treasure. Ha ha ha, I said, this kid must be able to make an unexpected surprise. The 3 emperors are sighing and winking. At this time, Long Fei came to the dragon court step by step. As for that flag, it stood directly on the sacrifice stone of Xianmen and became the symbol of Dragon Court. Today, I would also like to thank the 3 emperors and the head of Zhenyuan, Long Fei remembered. But rest assured, since you put your hope on my Long Fei will certainly not let you down. Long Fei said, resolutely. Not for others, just because of this path, is also Long Fei's insistence. In this regard, we believe that you are recognized by the scriptures. Even the scriptures say that you are the hope of the mythical fairyland, and the poor will naturally not doubt. Zhen Yuanzi's were said, in front of Long Fei did not dare to lift the shelf. Long Feizuan called him a long voice, but he did not dare to forget the raging fury before Long Fei. Okay, for the next time, you can practice in Long Ting now. I believe that this period of time, whether it is heaven or Lingshan, will stop for a period of time. For me to deal with some things, I will directly launch a general attack, destroy the heavenly mountains, destroy the world, and become the only one. Long Fei said. This can also be regarded as an explanation to several people. After all, the masters of Tushan Xiaohong and Xianzong are still in a coma. The urgent task is to treat the two people. As for the attack on the heaven and the Lingshan, they can only wait until later. As for the demons and witches, since Win has already been won, it will inevitably be destroyed and swept away, and Long Fei is not worried or doubtful. The three emperors and others were hesitant, and they agreed. After all, this time out of the mountain, it was for Long Fei, and now Long Fei asks, they will naturally not refuse. Soon, Long Fei ordered Ao Guang to resettle the three emperors and the town's son. Only winning the hook, Long Fei stayed. Thank you today. Long Fei said. What's this? When I first saw you, I guessed that the breaking point of the mythical world lies on you. Wingo waved and said, not disapproving at all. Long Fei laughed softly. For winning the hook, Long Fei's intimacy is stronger than that of San Huang and others. It is not the first time that the two have dealt with each other, they are more like brothers and friends. As for friends, Long Fei never hesitated. The next moment, Long Fei moved his palm and squeezed out a drop of blood. This is my essence. After you refine, you may have unexpected gains. Long Fei said. But as soon as the voice fell, Long Fei's expression suddenly snapped. Master, in fact, if the Win hook is included in the system, it will have more functions. Don't forget, you still have a bone legion under your hand. The system girl reminded. Long Fei's expression froze, and he was shocked. Chapter 4880. Chapter 4880. The Bone Legion was obtained in the Tongxian world, but after solving the problem on the Tongxian road at that time, the entire legion was put back into the system and repaired. Today, if it wasn't for the system girl, Long Fei would have almost forgotten, and there is such a group of strange soldiers under his hands. Yeah, although Win Go is still arrogant, but it is not enough to want to be the enemy in the future. But if he is allowed to join the Bone Legion, he will definitely be able to take another step forward. Long Fei thought. As soon as he thought about it, Long Fei said directly, win the hook. When I summoned you, do you still remember the Throne of Bone and the Bone Legion under me? Long Fei asked. Remember, that group exists, although not very strong, but it can be said to be past. Winning Hands, holding the essence of Long Fei, said lightly. Want to be more than what Long Fei said. Wingo is obviously more interested in this drop of essence blood. He can feel that Long Fei's essence contains an indescribable breath. This breath is so arrogant that it gives Wingo a feeling that if it can be swallowed, maybe it can go further. At this level of cultivation, it is difficult for them to reach a small level, as they are often retreats for thousands of years, and they may not be able to break through. So now a drop of essence blood gave him this impulse, and it was naturally shocking. Long Fei's face changed slightly, and he did not expect that his Bone Legion was so worthless in winning the hook. As soon as this word came out, Long Fei wanted to speak and gave Shengsheng a return. Master, now that the Bone Legion has been rehabilitated after the repair, it has been improved several times over the past. Now the minimum combat power has the limit below the detachment. Even if it is not weaker than the Win hook. At this moment, the system girl suddenly said. Full of disdain. It seems that Long Fei's power is looked down upon by Wingo, and I feel very upset. Long Fei froze, seeming a little confused. After all, when the Bone Legion was incorporated into the system, it was really not strong. How long has it elapsed now, and it is already comparable to winning? Master, don't underestimate the power of the system.
Many impossible things are omnipotent in the eyes of the system. The system girl said, extremely proud. Long Fei nodded, no doubt about this. The power of the system is certain, at least so far, the system has never disappointed Long Fei. As soon as this happened, Long Fei smiled in his heart and said to Wingo, if I say, I will give you the throne of bones and make you the master of the group of bones. Long Fei said tentatively. But he knew that it required a process. That is the system that will win the hook. So far, the secrets of the system, even if their own women and their brothers do not know, it is naturally impossible to let Wingo know. After all, this relationship is too much, and Long Fei will not take risks. Therefore, the method that Fei Fei can think of is to let the Win Hook be recast through the Pantheon building, so that the Win Hook can be included in the system, and it is logical to become the master of the group of Bone warlords. You know, that group of Bone warfare is really close to immortality. And it will be more powerful after being merged with each other. It is definitely not simple. Let me be the master of those beings. But aren't those things in your world? Can't you turn them all together? Wingo doubted. But then, with a bitter smile, yes, nothing is impossible on you. Even I can get through, naturally there is a way to get those villages over. Wingo said, but did not express his position. Long Fei chuckled, chuckling quietly. Fortunately, although Wingo knows he has some means, he doesn't know much. If he knows that these beings are in himself now, he doesn't know how to feel. It's simple, as long as you promise. I don't need to say anything between you and me, and you shot me several times to help me, naturally I can't let you float. Long Fei said. The next war is really the beginning of cruelty. Compared to today, this can only be regarded as a petty fuss. Wait until that race comes across the sky, fearing that real disaster will come. And relying on the current fighting power of Wingo, in that battle, even if you have the power to protect yourself, it will not be too easy. Unless the Win can be crouched under the sea of blood, you can avoid the spread of that battle. But, according to Wingo's temper, impossible. Long Fei dared to guarantee that as long as those beings came, winning the hook would definitely kill the past. After all, in the face of the sage, he dared to tear his face, and when that race appeared, he would choose a battle if he feared death. Therefore, what Long Fei is thinking now is to make the Win Hook fast and strong. Floating. What do you mean? Win Hook is very sensitive. As soon as Long Fei's voice falls, he is sensitive to the problem and asks quickly. Of course it's about a future battle. Long Fei opened the door to see the mountain and did not intend to conceal it. Let them know now that they can be a bit more prepared and stressed, so they won't be caught off guard in the future. Next, Long Fei will win the dialogue and say to win the hook. Shit, are all saints? Or a race? No wonder, after breaking through the quasi-holy sacrifice, breaking through that level, I broke free from the **** of heaven, but I could feel a fatal crisis. Just like the same pair of eyes staring at the sky above the void, can't wait to swallow it here, the original problem is here. Yingo said in a deep voice, without any doubt. Yes, that's why I want to make you the master of the Bone Throne and lead the Bone Legion against the enemy in the future. Long Fei said. What else to say, that's it. Wingo promised, without any hesitation. As soon as Long Fei's heart heard this answer, he was ready to contact the system girl for the next operation. But at this moment, in the mind, the sound of the system reappeared. Ding, the player triggers the second layer of missions, sets up the Lord of the Nether. Mission level, A task time, 1 day. Mission rewards, 500 activation rolls, 10,000 Legion coins. Mission penalty, none. The sound of the system dropped suddenly. Long Fei froze, then his face became extremely weird. On my own side, I just wanted to make Wingo the master of the Bone Legion. I did not expect that the system will now have a mission. What's more, the task is tailored to win the hook. After all, the Win Hook is the lord of the Nether Blood Sea, surrendering to the land, and the spectre of the Nether, any dark creature must bow its head before the Win Hook. It can be said that if Wingo was willing, he would have unified the government. Master, I'm ready for the Bone Legion in the Legion system. You can just let the win hook enter it, rest assured, he won't notice the secret of the system. At this moment, the system sister said, "You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.